All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Man with freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starcade Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 277, full swing, full motion. We're so happy to be here with you, and for you to be here with us, whether you're live streaming, podcasting, YouTubing, however the hell you're hanging out with us, whenever the hell you're hanging out with us. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. This means the world to us, guys. We love it when you guys come and hang out with us because we have things to talk about. We got opinions to give out, but we also want to hear your opinions as well, which is why we tell you at the top of every single show, if you've not already done it, go to youtube.com, go to the Spoken Podcast, hit us up on there, hit subscribe, like, notify, all that stuff, share. We appreciate all the buttons you push. The biggest one we want you guys to push, though, today in particular while we are live streaming, is to get in the chat. So get in the live chat. Give us your takes. Give us your comments, your questions, your concerns, whatever it is you guys want to talk about in the world of sports today. There's a lot going on, even though it is the dead part of the year with the Olympics, though, with baseball, with football gearing back up. Things are starting to happen, guys. We're about to enter the best part of this sports calendar year. This is where we really start to gear up on some things and start talking about some real stuff, guys, that I know you guys have been waiting to talk about because I know the football season is about, what is it, 48 days away now, Trevor? Like we're really there, man. We're on the precipice. Yep. That's a fun word. We're on the precipice of what we've all been waiting for, guys, all off season, and I hope you guys are ready for a show because we have a lot to talk about today. First and foremost, again, we want to thank everybody that's been a part of this. We want to thank Starcade Media for giving us the platform, the opportunity to do what we do here, guys. We have so much fun with them every single week. Arrowhead Allies will be back this Tuesday. We've had a little bit of a hiatus. I've had some people that are sick, people that are out of town. You know, this network is constantly working, and we're also human, so there's the element of that to consider as well. But we are back this Tuesday. I'm assuming the full roster will be back. I don't know who the guest will be, so just hang tight with us, guys. I'm sure it'll be announced. But either way, no matter what goes on, guys, we're going to have a ton of fun. So join us this Tuesday night at 6 o'clock Central Time. And I promise you guys, you can do it right here at our YouTube channel here at The Spoken. We will be live. That'll be live on our YouTube channel as well if you just want to stay put here on Tuesday. But we have a show today. And Trev, how you doing today, man? How you feeling this morning? You ready for some discussion?
Ready to rock and roll, baby. Yeah. I can smell it.
Yeah.
I can smell it. It's almost here, man.
How was your week, man?
It was good. I mean, it's obviously busy with work, busy with the kids, you know, the normal day in, day out routine. But yeah, man. It's been nice, you know, being able to see football being played on the practice facility and watching these guys out there throw the ball around. It's been fun this week, kind of, you know, finally starting to see some of those clips. So the hype is starting to roll around here with certain guys, and it's fun. I can't wait to discuss it, man.
Can't wait to discuss it either. That's why we're going to waste no more time. And without further ado, you guys know how this goes, how we start things off, how we kick things off here at the Spoken Podcast. It is time for Lance Rants.
Gotta scream! Yeah! We're back to motion! The moon's gonna do me! Woo!
As Trevor alluded in there about how we're watching guys on the field now at training camp, getting things ready, getting their bodies ready, getting acclimated. We see some young guys, older guys, all starting to mend and shape into a team. This is a great time of the year where they're out there in the dog days of the summer where it's 90-plus degrees out there. Everyone's getting frustrated, and people are, you know, just trying to make this team, trying to make this roster. We know how focused this Chiefs team is. We know that Andy Reid runs a really, really tight ship, especially this time of year, man, when he's really trying to figure out who his 53 is going to be. It's been well known and well documented across the league that Andy Reid probably has the toughest training camp in all of football. He runs more of an old school style of football where it's constant game situations, game scenarios. He wants his team to be mentally, physically, and emotionally prepared for whatever happens in a 16, 17 game schedule. So you know that this team, although very talented, is also so prepared, which is why this team, it's no mystery, this team is consistently in the AFC Championship and in the Super Bowl almost every damn year. We know that's the focus here. We know that's what goes on here in Kansas City, and that's why we are spoiled almost here in Kansas City because of how that is the focus, where there's not a lot of drama. Every once in a while, we'll have a Rashee Rice situation that happens in early March or late March, months before training camp. But when training camp happens, it tends to be this team just locks in, shuts the hell up, and starts playing some damn football. That's not the case across the league. And first and foremost, I want to say that I'm grateful for that. Because whether some want to acknowledge it or not, we've had former players, even like Mitchell Schwartz, who I respect vehemently, I think he's the best right tackle of his era, has said that bulletin board material didn't really ever do anything for him. But I beg to differ for a lot of other players. And ironically, Mitchell Schwartz himself had brought this story up on his own Twitter account and talked about how, in other words, you done effed up. What am I talking about here, Trev? What am I talking about here, people? We're talking about the one and only Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I'm sure the majority of you already know the story, already know the situation about what took place this week, but we saw 7th round corner. I'm still, Trevor, I'm trying to figure out what this kid's name is because all I do know, and it's a fun fact that our guy Nick Wright posted on First Things First yesterday, this kid is actually Ed Reid, the great Ed Reid's cousin. But according to what I'm reading here, Trevor, it says here Trey Taylor is his name. He's a 7th round pick. Decided to have some fun this week, Trevor, at the expense of one Patrick Mahomes. Let's go ahead and roll that footage for him.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, I want to personally thank Trey Taylor and the Las Vegas Raiders that had anything to do with this. I want to personally thank you guys for this because I know. And I actually ironically tweeted this last night that, and Trevor's said this many times to me before, which is where I kind of got the moniker, that being offended is a choice. When you first see this video, and I saw this video a couple of days ago, I always feel like whenever something like this happens and it's a joke or a jab at the Chiefs or Patrick Mahomes, I always feel like I end up in these crossroads in my mind. Do I choose to take the bait and get upset, get riled up, and say, man, this is bullshit, man, fuck you guys, who do you guys think you are? Don't you know the Chiefs own you guys? What the fuck, man, who do you guys think you are? Or do I take the road of, thank you so much for this? Because the one thing I do know about teams that win a lot and players that win a lot, and it almost starts to get easy to them, is even when they're focused, even when they come into training camp with every intent in their mind of, we are going to be a team that three-peats, and that's the focus, and they're fueled up and ready to go. Even with that, sometimes lackadaisical can set in. A lethargic can set in. The things that you didn't think were going to start to set in sometimes. It just happens. That's human nature. But ever so often, and for whatever reason, it consistently happens here in Kansas City, teams and players across the league have a fetish with poking the bear that wears the 15 jersey in Kansas City.
I don't get it, man.
And I absolutely fucking love it. I love it. I remember when Patrick Mahomes first became the Chiefs quarterback, and I heard Eric Mangini on First Things First, and he was talking about how you got to slow down and quit praising this kid too quickly. We've seen other guys better than him before that, had better starts to their career, which is actually factually incorrect. And we saw these people downplaying him, saying that Drew Brees was the real MVP in 2018. And I remember how pissed I used to get. Like, I used to just get so pissed off and so defensive and just, what are you talking about? Oh my God. And I just lose my mind. And then I started to think, as time went on, as these years have gone on, it's flattery for people to try and downplay what Patrick Mahomes and what this Chiefs team continues to do, or trying to make jokes out of a team like this, who, yes, by the way, is 10-2 against the Raiders with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback, I might add, and we'll have some stats to back that up in just a second. But it's almost like and I don't want to go too far into this, Trevor, but it's like, the Kendrick and Drake beef. You remember how, like, everyone's like, oh, Kendrick won, and Kendrick's the better rapper, and all that. That's all true. I believe that Kendrick won the battle, and I didn't give a shit about it to begin with. But, Kendrick lyrically beat Drake, right? He lyrically beat him because he's just a better MC. But Drake is such a big mogul in the musical industry that it's that big of a deal to take him down. When you're that big of a monster, when you're that big in your profession that people are celebrating coming at you, that is something that you should consider as flattery. Because it only ups your value. It only ups who you are in the perception of other people. You're not taking the L. You think Drake took an L on that?
No, they both won.
He's only become more famous because of it.
Yeah.
Which is why, after you see this video, we see our guy, Mr. Patrick Mahomes, briefly react this way to he responds this way to said video.
Was that a smart move by the Raiders bringing the puppet out?
I mean, that's just kind of the Raiders, man. That's what makes it the best thing about football and the rivalry type thing. It breeds out the best in everybody, and I'm excited for it.
That look like a guy worried to you about the Las Vegas Raiders? He literally, he's sitting here telling you guys this is who they are. And in the nicest way possible, Patrick Mahomes is letting you know, that's why I have more playoff wins in their house than they do. That's why I've won one of my 3 Super Bowls in their house. That's why I'm 10-2 against them. Real quick, Trevor, show the numbers that Patrick Mahomes has against the Las Vegas Raiders. These are Patrick Mahomes' career numbers against the Las Vegas Raiders. As you can see, if you look at it, this man, again, 10-2 in his career against the Las Vegas Raiders, completes 66% of his passes, which is his career average, I might add, 298 yards, which is right at his career average, 8 yards per pass attempt, touchdown to interception 30-4 with a 110 quarterback rating.
And 2 of those had to have come in that recent game last year, and he had those 2 turnovers.
Yes, the pick 6 that he threw out. Yeah. Like, that was one of the worst games of Patrick Mahomes' career and the Chiefs.
And that's lumped into this. That just shows you how dominant he's been even with that awful game.
Even with that horrible game, yeah.
That's crazy. 34-19 is the average score.
2 losses in 12 games to a divisional foe. And these guys are out here, and again, this is all setups. This is them setting up Patrick Mahomes for more success, because as we recall, on those 2 losses, you guys remember what happened? The 2 losses when they first beat him with John Gruden, they circled around Arrowhead Stadium. What happened after that? Chiefs blew the doors off of the Las Vegas Raiders in their house. Then what happened after the second one, Trevor? When they went up there and then they tried to stomp on the fucking flag, the logo. Yeah. The Chiefs were up 35-0, I think, at half. Yeah. Like Patrick Mahomes' wins against the Raiders, he averages 36 points per game. Like these are things that you would feel that if any team in the league would say, "Hey, man, let's just compliment the shit out of this guy." You could see in Antonio Pierce's face. He's like, "Fuck, why did my team do this?" And what's the 7th round dipshit doing, putting out here starting fires? You don't see Max Crosby doing this.
Well, I mean, if I'm being honest with Antonio Pierce, he was doing his own right after the season last year. So
why do you think he's calming down? Because he knows what's coming. He knows what's coming. And if he were to double down, you don't think that's going to up the fire and up the ante for the Chiefs to say, okay, we'll see you guys October 27th.
Yeah.
We'll see you on October 27th in our house that's in Las Vegas. That's Arrowhead West, as we like to call it. Like, that is only going to add to the fire. And I love this. This is Patrick's response is awesome. It's brief. You can tell he knows what he's saying, and he's saying a lot without saying a lot. This is my favorite response, is one Andy Reid, and how he clarifies this situation from his perspective.
Mahomes got some fuel to the fire recently with the Raiders and a puppet and some other things out there. I know last year he was kind of searching for some things to fire him up, and he found them. Is it a smart idea to fire up Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I'd probably say not. We don't spend a lot of time here with puppets, so we try to do our work and try to get better, That's the important thing.
No puppets here at Chiefs camp. Thanks so much, Andy.
You can see in the reporter's face how funny that was. Like to be in the situation, like it's funny like through a camera lens, but being in the moment with Andy and how funny he is when he says like, "Oh, we don't really care much about puppets around here. Like we're focused on winning out here. These guys are focused on puppets." Yeah. I love that Andy doesn't say anything with that. This is why this franchise is where it's at, guys, because they allow, and we've been seeing this even since 2018. Like I said, Trevor, remember when the Jaguars was it Telvin Smith, whatever his name was?
Oh yeah,
come talk to me after the game. Come talk to me after the game.
It's just funny.
Yeah,
it's just funny.
And then you never heard from him again.
Yeah.
And then like all these people throughout these years have just continued to give bullets and more material. Burrowhead, the whole Burrowhead thing that happened with the Bengals. The Bengals haven't beaten the Chiefs since that Burrowhead thing started, by the way, I might add. Like these things that these teams are giving the Chiefs are only going to amplify the Chiefs to want to continue to win more. This is why I'm telling you guys that the Chiefs three-peating is a very real chance. This is why I'm telling you guys that Patrick Mahomes getting to 6-7 Super Bowls is a very real thing, because I'm telling you, he thrives, and we've talked to his own father about this. He thrives off of doubt. He thrives off of other people trying to make a joke out of him, and we know that he doesn't appreciate when we make fun of his voice. That's a very real thing, and I try to put myself in that perspective. If I had a funny voice, and let's be real, Patrick has a funny voice. If I was being made fun of like that growing up and being a little self-conscious about that, and knowing that I've made it to the level that I'm at, I'm still getting disrespected by 7th-round picks by a team that I own, you don't think I'm going to want to make a statement and let these people know who I am? That's the one area I will say that Patrick is very much like Michael Jordan. We knew that Michael Jordan was always looking for that chip. Always, even if he had to make it up. He was looking for something. Yep. And he found it all the time, and it always gave him that edge, that competitive edge, to go out there and assassinate his competition. Guys, that is in Patrick Mahomes' DNA. You go watch his dad go pitch back in the day with the Mets, with the Red Sox, with these other teams, with the Rangers. You go watch how he pitched. He pitched like he was trying to take someone's head off by striking them out. Like, there's fire, there's fury in their bones, man. And for you to come at a guy like this, I cannot say it loud enough and say it enough. I can't thank them enough. Because this team is already motivated as can be, knowing that a three-peat is a very real possibility. They are the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. I think it's plus 500 or plus 600 or whatever it is. I think they're tied with the Niners. But the point is, they are set in a position where even Vegas thinks, oh, the Chiefs, yeah, they can very much win this Super Bowl. They can very much be the first team to the three-peat. And then more teams are giving them things like this. Jamar Chase is out there saying, I won't even say Patrick's name. People are still doing this. I love it. Trevor, I got to get your thoughts. You and I have not talked about this at all, because I know it happened at the tail end of the week, and you and I didn't really get a catch up on this.
Yeah.
But I imagine you feel the same way I do, man, because it's like you're literally handing us a gift here, man. It's like the jogger who's on the trajectory to win the race, and somebody walks up to them and gives them a fresh Gatorade, and then that's their competition. Like, why would the competition come and give me a fresh, cool Gatorade when I'm in the middle of beating their ass right now in a race? Thank you for that. You just gave me an extra boost of motivation. You gave me that hydration I needed to keep me going. I mean, how else do we view this, man? Because it definitely isn't something I'm mad about. I love it. Yeah. It's great. You ain't offended in me, bro. The fact you're coming at my team, the fact that Kendrick's coming at Drake, it makes me feel even better about who we are.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know where I stand on this stuff, dude. Like, this is the Chiefs, in a way, need these kind of things. They need, over the years, they need the Bengals talking their shit. That gave them the edge in those situations. The Raiders, I mean, they're our sons already anyways. I mean, I know they had their odd win last year against us, and kudos for that. That's great. We went on to win the Super Bowl, so sure, enjoy that. But listen, man, this is just a young kid doing dumb things, and he's gonna learn. He gonna learn, right? This is just another situation where these guys, for some reason, they don't have the respect for Patrick Mahomes that they should, and I think the ones that understand the game and been around do. Like the likes of Von Miller. You'd never see Von Miller talking shit. He takes like the opposite approach, where he kind of which is like the old school way. To kind of praise your opposition, so you don't give them anything. It kind of softens them up a little bit. That's actually the better way to go, especially if you're like a no-name guy and you have no real way of really backing it up. Because that guy's not going to make a play against Pat. He's even going to be in the game. Is even going to make this roster.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like he has a scapegoat, because he's not going to have to be the one out there going out there and making plays against Pat. So it's easy for this no-name guy, Ed Reed's cousin or not, you know, out here with the hand puppet of Patrick Mahomes and attempting to do a frog voice, which didn't sound anything like a frog voice. But if you're gonna insult a man, insult him right. But listen, just like I always go back to Kelce, just this Travis Kelce during this past Super Bowl, you know, preparation, that whole parade thing, not the parade, but the thing they did before the Super Bowl game, the day before, when they had all the fans in the stadium and everything, and everybody was booing Travis Kelce.
Pep rally, basically.
Yeah, and he was like, keep the boos coming. You know, I like those more than the cheers. That's the DNA of this team, man. They love being the villain, and people continue to make us more of a villain. It's like, you're just adding logs to that fire and just taking kerosene and just dousing them down. Yep. Like, what do you think you're doing? So, I mean, the fact that it's the Raiders, too, is what makes this so much funnier. I mean, they've been our sons for so long. This division, in general, I mean, the Chargers have had competitive games. The Broncos have had competitive games fairly, you know, at times in certain seasons. But for the most part, man, the Raiders out of a couple freaky games and a couple broken down plays when Derek Carr was there have done jack shit against us. And it's hilarious. And you showed the numbers of Patrick just absolutely goes scorched. One of the best statistics against any team in his career is the Raiders. So that alone is hilarious. But I mean, yeah, dude, you know where I'm at, dude. Like, obviously I'm not offended. Pat's not offended. Pat's actually probably thankful when he gets home and when he first saw that on Twitter or whatever, he's like, oh my goodness.
Well, he even said, he goes, people know better than to send that stuff to me because they know I see stuff.
And I love,
he knows.
I loved his response too in the tent when he was getting asked about it also, again, when he was talking about it'll get handled when it gets handled. That's like, I mean, it's semi-passive aggressive. But I like what he's doing because he kind of has to be passive aggressive there. Because what is he gonna do? Give them fuel back?
Did it sound like a dad? Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Hey, I heard your kid was acting up. Oh yeah, we'll handle that when I get home.
That's exactly how I saw it. Like, I felt like if I put myself in Pat's shoes, that's like, I feel like that's like one of my kids like mocking me. I'm like, oh, you're getting a little.
Let's see how tough you're over there when no one else is around.
Yeah. Where's this the gall? Yeah. So like that's how I'm sure he's taking it. Like, oh, he's got to son these guys again. He's got to remind him. He's got to give him a little spanking again. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, man, this is all fun. This is all fun for us. I mean, they're the team that's looking to make this is their only way of getting clout right now, right? So is when they face us. So, you know, they're not making fun of anybody else. They're not making fun of any other teams. Go figure, right? They gotta punch up, right? And we refuse to punch down. We're just gonna beat down, right? So that's what we do, and it's gonna be a bloodbath most likely. At least one of these games is gonna be an absolute bloodbath. Right. I think he's going to continue those statistics that you showed against them. And we're probably going to drop 35, 38 points on these guys. And our defense is going to go out there and destroy whoever's playing quarterback for them because we don't even know who their starting quarterback is at this moment. So cool. Congrats on that L for you guys.
It sounds like it might be Aiden O'Connell, just to throw that out there.
I mean, they paid Gardner Minshew already, which is crazy, but who knows, bro? It doesn't matter.
One thing I want to add that, you know, because people are asking who brought the puppet, all this. It's some jackass fan on Twitter that has since tried to like apologize for it and all this other stuff. But the guy
he cursed his own team.
The guy takes the picture, and of course he's wearing a shirt of Patrick Mahomes and a ref making out. He's wearing a fanny pack too, which was super cute. And then he has the puppet. What I just can't wait for, man, is when Patrick Mahomes does the puppet to the Raiders again and has them, you know, fisted up, you know, like that. Yeah. I can't wait for that because that's what's going to happen. And I just hope you guys are ready for it too, because like I said, what it did is it just gave, because some of these games against teams like the Raiders can sometimes get a little like, you know, because Travis Kelce's admitted it, like, hey man, we're just looking to get to the playoffs. But now these games have some real meaning to them because you're giving them something to look forward to other than just trying to get a W. And this is why I say all the time, just because you're in a division doesn't make you a rival. Because the Chiefs have owned the AFC West. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has 5 losses total to these teams. I think it's by a combined like 22 points. Like it's something insane. Like by single or one possession games like every single time. So we know that this is a division that the Patrick's going to own for probably his entire career. And I just think that when you give him opportunities like this, it's going to be statement games now. It's not going to just be, hey, let's just get these division games out of the way. Let's win them. Let's win the division. Let's get a home game, and let's see what happens in the playoffs. No, now you're saying, hey, let's go and enjoy this victory. Let's go in there and let's go put up 35+ on these guys. Because Andy Reid, we all know he likes, I mean, he always plays it safe when they have a big lead, But I think sometimes you see how he likes to flex his muscle in the red zone plays, and he likes to do some trickery stuff because he likes to. He's a savage too, man.
I would
this
love
team
it
is
if we're
led
up,
by
if
savages.
we're up like 30-6, and we put Carson Wentz in there, and he goes and puts up 15, 14
That's
more
what I'm
points.
saying, bro. How funny would that shit
bro,
be, bro?
that'd be fucking epic, man. That's what I want to happen. I want Carson Wentz to go out there, not just Pat, but Carson Wentz to go out there and get it.
Well, yeah, the Chiefs have the best backup quarterback in the league, in my opinion. So, just make sure Carson doesn't fall down the hill.
Shit. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was funny, dude.
That's so funny, bro.
I want to give a quick shout out, like we always do every week, to the chat. I see you guys are already getting your thing going. We got some questions in there. Shout out to our guy Ruben DeCruz, who's been busy already. Chiefer 65 Toss Power Trap. Shout out to you. Shout out to Dustin. I guess him and his son are hanging out and playing Mario today. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for watching and listening with us, brother, as well.
Yep. Shout out Cooper.
Henrique, I know you can't. Well, he said I can't follow live, but I'll catch up later. Always enjoy your takes outside the box, reality filled and hope free. Thank you so much for that, Henrique. We always appreciate when you're hanging out, bro. Chiefs KT, shout out to you as well. MQ10, Julia Gooley's in the house. She said I was fine with the dumb puppet. I was fine with the mocking of Patrick's voice. It crossed the bitch word.
hey, it's like LeBron. You don't call a grown man a bitch, bro.
Nope.
Especially man to man.
Right.
Bro, those are fighting words, man.
Yep,
like,
100% agree.
There's a
Julia,
code here.
Julia, you are 100% correct. I think that is where, if Patrick was to be upset at all, I think that would be where it's at. Because it's like, bro, you don't even know me at a personal level. Who are you? Like, it's like, what was it, Steve Smith, the old receiver, Ocho Cinco. He's like, bro, I don't even, like, turn around. Like, what's your name? Like, I don't even know your name, dude. Like, who are you? That's one of those situations, and I love the fact that it's the Raiders, like you said, Trevor, that decided to do this.
Like, of all teams, bro, really? You guys, bro?
There's another topic I wanted to bring up today, guys, as well, because we know with camp and what the Chiefs are doing, there's always intention behind everything that AD Reid is showing the world. And we know that ESPN and Fox and all these other networks are picking up what happened from the very jump of Chiefs training camp. And we know that Chiefs got to jump on training camp before everybody else, so the whole world was watching what the Chiefs were going to do. And what do you know, the first actual play, offensive play, was Patrick Mahomes running to his left and chucking it deep to Xavier Worthy, rookie out of Texas, and it became a big, big touchdown. And that became the story of training camp, and to this moment is still the story of training camp. And I know that gets a lot of people excited. I understand why. I understand why people wanted Xavier Worthy from the beginning. He's a burner. He's a fast kid. He can track a ball down. He has all the signs of being a real burner, game-breaking type of player in this league. And I really hope that he becomes that. And then we know that Hollywood Brown's here. We know that what his strength is, downfield plays, getting those big, deep stretch chunk plays, and he's got decent hands, and he has a good route tree, things of that nature. We know these two guys are what everyone's focusing on. We keep hearing everybody talk about, the Chiefs got speed, and they added all the speed. And like I told you guys a couple episodes ago, the Chiefs had speed last season. It was just they had guys that could not catch the ball. Yeah. And we saw, even in the Eagles game, when the Chiefs should have won that game, MVS blew by his defender. MVS is one of the fastest dudes in this league. Just couldn't catch the ball. Kadarius Toney, open multiple times in that Lions game, blowing by defenders, couldn't catch the damn ball. This team's always had speed. What it hasn't had is reliable assets at catching the football. So I look at Hollywood Brown, I think, of Xavier Worthy. Hopefully that is what they become, where they're speedster guys that can catch the ball downfield. But, there's something that Charles Goldman, I want to put this on the screen if that's okay. Our guy Charles Goldman had this tweet yesterday, and it says, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes says that Rashee Rice has taken a step forward from his rookie season. Quote, he was making that progress at the end of last year in the playoffs. He's just getting better and better. He came to camp better in shape. You've been able to see how much explosion he has catching the football and downfield. Obviously, when he catches the football underneath, he gets upfield fast, end quote. I don't know if we had that quote or not or not. So. Okay, well, that's what Charles Goldman got from Patrick Mahomes, basically saying how impressed he's been of Rashee since the playoff time, since about week 7, week 8, when we saw that Rashee really started to turn it on and was really the only guy that the Chiefs could rely on from the receiver room. You saw what he could become in this offense, even in a limited role, of knowing that he just was basically catching all the underneath stuff and just running. He led the league in yak, even though, like I said, half the season he was basically a useless player. He wasn't being utilized for the first 2 months of the season. And this is actually where I really want to kind of lift off here, because I tweeted this out, and we do have this tweet up there, Trevor. We can put that one up there. Rashee Rice is the best wide receiver on the Chiefs roster, and I don't think it's remotely close. I really like Hollywood Brown and anticipate him to play a serious role in this offense. I acknowledge Xavier Worthy's potential, but neither of them will ever be able to be 6'2", 200 pounds. And neither have been asked or will be asked to step up the way Rashee was asked to step up in his rookie season while exceeding expectations. Hopefully his suspension doesn't come down the pipe this season, or it's only a couple of games, because this offense is going to rely so heavily on the Rice-Patty connection. And that's where I stand on this heavily right now. And Trevor, you and I briefly talked about this before the show today, because I really wanted to make an emphasis on this for the show. Because, again, I know that we're so caught up and they might have their next Tyreek Hill. Hollywood Brown might really blow up in this offense. Those things are possible. They are. Xavier Worthy is a very talented individual. Hollywood Brown has a prove-it deal. He's 26, 27 years old. It makes a lot of sense for these guys, and we know that Patrick loves to throw the ball downfield. We know he loves the big plays. We know that. And we love him here, too, because it's exciting, and it messes with the defense's confidence when you can go and break their backs like that. Because we know defenses intentionally play cover 2, cover 3 on the Chiefs a lot. And if you can still break the will of a defense that's playing like that, they don't have a lot of answers. But see, I think we need to be prepared to have a similar style or approach, rather, to the way the Chiefs are going to attack defenses this year than they did last year. I think the offense will be better this season, but I think the attack will be very similar. I don't think that this offense is going to be led the way it was in 2022, where they were leading the league in deep passes and explosive plays. I think this is going to be more of in comparison to style, more of the 2023 style of football, where Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice are the ones that are leading the way in the offensive and the receiving game, where you're getting a lot of those underscreens, 5-10-yard passes, and they add another 7 or 8 with their feet. That's where I think the offense is going to really get their bread and butter. I do think that Patrick's going to want to throw the ball deep this year, but I think they're also, like I said, they don't do anything in camp that doesn't have any intention behind it. I think they're trying to get people to focus so much on this deadly speed they got with this young burner and Hollywood Brown, and they're thinking, oh shit, man, we better make sure that we got our guys. It's like, when Big Papi would step up to the plate, everyone's back at the warning track. I think that what shocked a lot of people was when Papi would put down a bunt down third base line and freaked everybody out because the shift's on. I think the Chiefs are going to approach it like that a lot this season, where teams are expecting to see Patrick try to chuck the ball and get aggressive again, because we know he likes that. I think you're going to see a lot of Rashee Rice 5-yard dump-offs, Isaiah Pacheco 2-yard dump-offs, Travis Kelce 8-yard dump-offs. I think you're going to still see a conservative Patrick Mahomes, but the numbers are going to be better because he's got more reliable assets now. I think these guys, Rashee's going to be a more developed player. Travis Kelce's obviously going to be healthier. Isaiah Pacheco's been working. They've talked about how Isaiah Pacheco's been working on his catch game. There's a lot more to the guys that he's going to rely on than there were last year. And I think Xavier Worthy is going to be a good player, and I think Hollywood Brown is better than MVS. So they're upgraded their offense, not to mention my guy, who I believe is going to take the spot of Justin Watson, and I hope Justin Watson's okay. We saw he got it looked like a pretty serious injury with I think it was his left ankle. Nico Remigio is going to be a guy in this offense. I think he's going to be a lot of fun in this offense. I think he's going to be another guy that you can add and sprinkle in as a possessions receiver just to catch the ball, move the chains, things of that nature. I think that you're going to see Mecole Hardman lead all Chiefs receivers in touchdowns in the red zone because he did that in 2022. I think he's going to do it again. I think Mecole Hardman's going to be another weapon in this offense again.
You think he's going to lead the team?
I think he's going to lead the team in touchdowns in the red zone. I think he's going to wide receivers. Let me specify wide receivers. Travis Kelce can probably get like 7-8 in the red zone, but I think wide receivers, Mecole Hardman's going to get those cool little jet sweeps, and the gadgety plays are going to utilize him like they did. Because remember in 2022, that's where he was most effective.
Yeah.
I think he had 8 touchdowns in the red zone.
3 against the Niners.
Yeah, and he missed half the season. So it's like, I think Mecole's going to get back to that. I think that you're, like I said, Rashee's going to be catching the underneath stuff. Travis Kelce's going to be who Travis Kelce was before, always was. And I think that the burners are going to be guys that are more, I don't want to call them decoys, but I think they're going to play their role. I don't expect Hollywood Brown to be this 1,100-yard, 9-touchdown guy. I'm not expecting Xavier Worthy to have 800-plus yards and 7 touchdowns in his rookie season. I think we need to hone down their expectations a little bit from a statistical production standpoint. They will play their role, but I do believe this is still Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice. I think that's the hierarchy when it comes to pass. When Patrick Mahomes is looking to pass, I still think it's going to be those two guys that are going to be carrying or being the catalyst, rather, to where this offense goes and how they improve from one year to the next. What are your thoughts on that, Trev?
Well, I mean, yeah, a lot of this hinges upon, the production of the offensive line too. If Pat has more time, to throw the ball, and I believe he will. I think this offensive line is going to be good. I mean, they drafted a guy in the first round who's a speedster, deep threat for a reason, and they brought Hollywood Brown, who's more than just a deep threat. He's a pretty much a complete receiver. He's a little undersized, but he's a complete receiver. So he can be in the slot. He can be all over the place. So I think Hollywood Brown is going to be an absolute monster this year. I think he's going to kill it for us. Honestly, I think he's going to be the leading receiver. But just with the Rashee Rice suspension looming, I think him missing games. I think if he didn't have a suspension looming, Rashee should be the number one guy.
Are you talking about just wide receivers?
Just wide receivers.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, but as far as your take on this, the Chiefs kind of trying to play chess while the rest of the league is playing checkers, kind of vibe with maybe trying to get the league to think that they're trying to be more of a deep threat, a vertical threat type of offense. I don't know if it's that deep. I don't know if they're trying to do some smoke and mirror stuff, but it could be a little bit of that. But I think they really want to test these defenses, man. I think they got these guys. They got Hollywood Brown and they drafted Xavier Worthy for a reason, and I think they're going to take their shots downfield more than last year. Because I think obviously with MVS, there's a lot of lack of trust there, right? With Kadarius Toney, there's a lot of lack of trust. With Sky Moore, there was pretty much non-existent, production there. So, I think Pat's going to try to take these shots. I think he's showing that in the training camp videos, obviously. But I think that is going to be a major part of this offense this year. I think that's going to help us a lot. I think that's going to open up even more things for Rashee Rice. To be more of what he is. And they were trying to get Rashee Rice to be more of a deep threat as the year went on last year, too. They're trying to stretch him downfield and use that because he's fast as shit, too. He's not, Xavier Worthy speed, but he's not far off, and he looks like he's bulked up a little bit in this offseason. Look, he's got some more size. He was already tough to bring down as it was. So, there could be a little bit of that, but I do think it's somewhere in the middle for me. I think the Chiefs want to have a really complete offense. The running back situation is what scares me the most about where we're going to get production from outside of Isaiah Pacheco. That's still a mystery for me. Deneric Prince looking like a guy who's going to get, has been getting the reps behind Pacheco. So who knows what's going to come of that? Because you do need balance, and I'm hoping we can establish a running game because that obviously opens up everything else as well. So, but as far as receivers goes, you could be onto something, man. I think that there could be some of that, but I'm definitely not gonna call a first round pick a decoy and bring in Hollywood. I know you weren't saying that, but I don't think those two guys are gonna be decoys. I think Hollywood Brown's gonna eat this season, barring health. But yeah, I think Rashee Rice, respectably, Rashee Rice should still be acknowledged as the number one receiving option in the receiving core for this team. And I don't think that's even a hot take at all. I think he proved that last year. Dude, like you said, took about 6 weeks for him to really kind of get going in this offense, and he led the freaking league in yak. Like that's insane, bro. With all the talent that we have in receiving in this league, Jamar Chase. I mean, I know he missed some games. Jefferson missed some games, but you still had guys like Brown from the Detroit Lions, and you got a bunch of other talented receivers in this league. So for him to do that his rookie season in this offense should tell you something what he's going to do leading into this next season. And he should absolutely be the number one go-to target in the wide receiver room for sure. Yeah,
and I wanted to add that too because you mentioned it briefly, and that's another point that I do want to bring up as to why I believe the underneath game, the conservative side of the passing game is going to still be so prevalent in this offense, is because of also the fact, like you said, about the running game. There's a lot of uncertainty there, man, and I feel that the Chiefs, for better or worse, are very comfortable with where their running back depth chart is. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Trevor, I'm not very excited about this room right now. In fact, I'm very worried about it. Isaiah Pacheco's a stud. We all know this, and he's a really good football player, and he's helped this team win 2 Super Bowls. But Isaiah Pacheco's hurt a lot, and he plays a very aggressive style of football to where at any given time, and especially him, I know it's for every player, but especially him, he can miss a lot of time due to the way he plays and how he just doesn't want to give up, running as fast as he can, as far as he can. This is a very violent game, man. And you lose Isaiah Pacheco for any length of time, this running back room is probably the worst in football, if you really think about it, outside of Isaiah Pacheco. Because I love Clyde and everything, but let's be real, man. Clyde is a running back 3. I don't think he's a running back 2. I think he's a running back 3, which means they don't have a running back 2 right now. They could add a veteran. Deneric Prince could develop. There's options out there for that to happen. But the point is that I think the Chiefs are saying, hey, we're going to be running through the air a lot this year. I think Patrick's going to be throwing a lot of dump. This is what I'm talking about.
Quick strikes.
A lot of dump off screens. Because I think the offensive line is going to be great this year.
I think that's the best way to use speed, too. Look how we did it with Tyreek.
Yeah.
Tyreek flourished in that kind of offense.
Do you remember, and I know the offenses are way different and the era is different, but the way Al Saunders used the old 2000s Chiefs offense, where you obviously had great running game. That's what the offense was built on. But when they would throw those little dump offs to the running back, whether it was Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, whoever it was, and they'd move the tackles and centers out there and just block, I think we're going to see some of that this year, more than we normally have out of Andy Reid's offense, where you're going to see Pacheco, or whoever the running back is, getting a dump-off screen to the left or right side, and you're going to see Kingsley and Joe Tooney and Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith rolling off that side and blowing up secondary guys and getting those big chunk plays out of this offense, and they're running the ball through the air. Because I don't think that this Chiefs running game is going to be all that great this season. I think Pacheco's going to have a good year, but as far as running the ball, I would be shocked if this is a bottom 5 rushing attack. Yeah. So with that, what are they going to do is what I'm saying. Like, how are they going to be able to move the ball and be one of the top 3-5 offenses in this league like we're expecting them to be? Well, they better be able to throw the ball all over the field and throw it effectively all over the field. Now, Patrick Mahomes can do this, but again, it isn't going to just be all the exciting plays. I hope Chiefs fans are prepared for the Chiefs to have more of a conservative approach a lot of times this year, where they're going to say, hey, we're still going to get these 12, 13 play drives, guys. It isn't going to be these 3-play, 85-yard drives all the time like it was in 2018. Yeah. This is a different offense. We don't have Tyreek Hill. Maybe Xavier Worthy could become that, but it's his rookie season. You have to ease him into things, even though Patrick said there is no easing into him. He's not the guy you're relying on. Like you said, Trevor, Rashee Rice is the wide receiver of this team, the class of this team. And if he wasn't going to get suspended, you would agree with me that he'd probably lead the team in receiving. And that includes Travis Kelce. Yeah. I think that Rashee Rice, if he plays all 16, 17 games this season, I think he could have a 1,200-yard season. Because the man had almost 1,000 yards last year, and only played 8 real meaningful games.
And on top of that, the dude knows how to find the end zone.
Right.
He's not just a good guy, a guy that gets yak and gets a lot of yards. He's a guy that has a nose for the end zone and should have had more. Had a couple called back on some stupid fake penalties last year. He should have had more than he did. So that guy, if he can build on that production, the dude's going to be one of the best receivers in the league statistically.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, you get a second-year guy that can go get you maybe 1,100 yards this year. I mean, barring a suspension, that's probably going to stifle some of that. And maybe 8, 9, 10 touchdowns.
Right.
Because that's in the books for him possibly. You know what I mean? So I think Rashee Rice for sure should be looked at as the number 1 target offensively for the wide receivers in this, and especially with, you got a young buck, you got a guy on a prove-it deal who's been a banged-up veteran through his career so far in Hollywood Brown, who I hope can stay healthy, and if he does, I think he's going to have great numbers this season. But Rashee Rice, man, there's so much mystery behind what this season's going to hold for him, but if he's healthy and he's on the field, the dude is always going to produce, and I think he's going to absolutely build off what he did last year.
Julia Gully had a comment I wanted to put up there. She said it's going to be chess with opposing teams' DCs. Set them up with a bishop and knight, only to have the king sweep the leg. Yeah. Well said, Julia. I agree. That's how it's going to go because Andy Reid always likes to stay a step ahead. He zigs when everyone else zags. My point, though, is, and I just want to reemphasize this, I don't want to try to repeat myself, the deep ball will play a factor in this offense again.
I mean, it has to.
They tried to last year, and guys kept dropping balls. They tried to implement it last year. They had burners last year. They're going to do it again this year because they have burners this year. It's just that I'm telling you guys right now, defenses are they're going to die on this hill. They're going to live with the results if they keep Patrick Mahomes within 5 to 10 yards. They're going to say, hey, look, if you can get 10 to 15 plays and still score a touchdown, we'll live with that result. We'll make you guys work for everything. They're not going to say, hey, fuck it, let's play zero coverage, man defense. all-out blitzes, because they know Patrick Mahomes will eat that alive all day long.
They're going to die on that hill, and they did last year.
Exactly. That's my point. So as grim, as bad as offense was last year, it wasn't because of the style of offense they were playing.
Yeah.
It was because dudes couldn't fucking catch.
Yeah.
If they can catch, if you cut their drops in half last season, this is one of the 3 best offenses in football, and it was one of the most conservative offenses in football.
Yep.
That's my point, is that defenses are going around the league, guys. I'm just telling you, get used to it. For the rest of Patrick Mahomes' career, as long as he is who he is, you're never going to see defenses go out there and play man defense with one safety, cover 1. They're not doing that anymore. Because we know what's going to happen. He's going to obliterate that.
Yeah.
So cover 2s and cover 3s are going to be constantly on the field against Patrick Mahomes. That's why I'm telling you guys, get used to Rashee Rice running those shallow crossers, McCole Hardman with the jet sweep stuff, Travis Kelce doing his improvisations between 5 to 10 yards. That's the stuff.
Kadarius Toney, the running back.
Oh, fuck
Get
off.
used to it, people.
Fuck off. I'm telling you guys, that is the bread and butter of this offense still.
Yeah.
Now, if Xavier Worthy does develop into a Tyreek Hill, then we're talking about something different in 2025. Or even 2024 if he develops quickly.
If he becomes a Yap Daddy too,
Oh, man.
alongside Rashee Rice, Jesus
And I do
Christ.
believe they're going to try to utilize it, but we know what Xavier's strength is.
Sure.
Downhill, downsfield, track the ball down.
He's not
That's
the most,
his.
yeah, he's not as shifty as Rashee is.
No.
Rashee is like a running back after he catches the ball.
Yes.
Kadarius Toney's the same way, but he's just. Yeah,
we're not going to bring up Kadarius.
I'm just saying his skill set is similar, but yeah,
that's the point. Is that I just hope that you guys are ready for that, because I do believe that's going to be a large majority of what this offense still is. I don't think it's going to be, hey, hot route 15 times a game. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is just chucking the ball downfield all game long. There will be games in certain matchups where they found something on the defense and they're going to expose it, and you're going to see Patrick have 3 touchdowns that went for 40 yards in a game. 3 different touchdowns that go for 40-plus yards.
Yeah.
Those games are going to happen. But on a normal basis, be ready for Travis Kelce to get 8 to 10 receptions, Rashee Rice to get 6 to 8 receptions, and they're going to combine for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Be ready for games like that. And it's going to suck for some of these fantasy owners, but Hollywood Brown is going to have 3 catches for 40 yards. Because he's going to get 1 big catch and a couple small shallows, see if he can create with his legs and gets tackled. There's going to be games where Hollywood Brown's not going to be a big factor. There's going to be plenty of games where Xavier Worthy's not going to be a big factor. That's why you got to rely on the dudes that you know best. And who does Patrick Mahomes know best other than Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice? Those are his 2 most trusted commodities. Now, we had another comment in here I wanted to get to as well, because I know this is going to be the question that people are going to continue to ask. And it's not even a question, it's just a comment. Our guy Chief KT said they need to just bring back McKinnon already. Guys,
yeah, it's not happening.
McKinnon is going to be 33 years old this year, and it's a miracle that he was able to play in the Super Bowl like he did. I mean, that dude had an abdomen tear that was one of the worst they had seen. So I don't believe at this time that McKinnon's playing football again. We'll see. I love McKinnon. I know he thought I was doubting him on Twitter all that time ago. I love McKinnon. The dude has played a pivotal role for this team for the last 2-3 years. I just don't think it's in the cards now. I think that he's aged, he's undersized. I mean, the dude's my height, guys. I'm 5'9". McKinnon's my height, and he weighs 170 pounds. Like, he's a little dude, and as you age quicker when you're smaller. So, our guy Shaggy Shane joins the chat. Says, Justin Ross left on the back of a golf cart today at practice, yet the latest reports is that he had to take a dump. It must be nice to have that access. Will he get those reps back? Well, thank you for the update there, Shaggy. We appreciate that. We did not know that until you said it. I don't think that Justin Ross is on this team for very much longer. Biggest reason why is, like I told you guys last season, and I think even our guy Shaggy tend to agree with me on this, as bad as the wide receiver room was last year, if Justin Ross was anything, he would have shown it last season when he had all the opportunities in the world to do so. And he didn't. He didn't maximize, capitalize any of the I's when it came to last season, guys. And I was somebody that said he was going to make this team when I saw him at training camp. I mean, the highlights were all over the place at training camp. We all saw what Justin Ross was at training camp. And I know that our guy Shaggy and a lot of people haven't given up on him. My point, though, is the Chiefs have brought in a lot more talent for a reason, because they believe that they need it. If Justin Ross was an answer, They wouldn't have signed Hollywood Brown even at the $7 million. They wouldn't have went up and traded in the first round for Xavier Worthy. They wouldn't have made sure that Rashee Rice is going to stay on this team no matter what's going on in his personal life. They wouldn't, there's things that they've done with this offense. They wouldn't have been talking about DK Metcalf and trying to get a trade with him, or the other rumors that we've heard from other wide receivers. If Justin Ross was a real answer, I don't think we're sitting here talking about 3 or 4 other receivers that have been added to the equation, or the Brett Veach has tried to add to the equation, because they would feel comfortable with what they got. Because we've seen them do that before at other positions, even at wide receiver. I just don't think. I think that Justin Ross's days in Chiefs and a Chiefs jersey are limited, but I do like the kid's talent. I love that he's 6'4". I love that he can catch a lot of big high passes at the high point.
The Chiefs did stick by his side when he was going through this stuff. I mean, that does say something, because that's an easy see you later, if the Chiefs really wanted to, and they didn't have much desire to keep him on the team, and they didn't think he could bring something to the table. So obviously they do think he could bring something to the table. It's just us as fans, we're just left in the dark of what his future holds for this team. Like it's a strange thing. Like you said, his profile is sexy as hell, right? You want a guy like that, and especially what he did in college,
right?
His freshman year, he was dominant. You know what I mean? So he has things in the tank that can, contribute to professional football, but it's just we haven't seen anything. And that's all we have is nothing, right? So if he couldn't get on the field last year, man, over KT or, Sky Moore, and get some reps in, as a, fuck it, throw it against the wall, see if it sticks kind of situation, then it's kind of damning, to be honest. So,
well, and I who was it? Our guy Micah Hayes says McKinnon weighs 215, not 170. No, 215 is his playing weight. When you guys can understand, go look at DJ Derek Johnson, who just came to training camp this last week, and look how skinny that man is now. When Derek Johnson was playing, he was around 245. That man probably weighs about $195 now. These guys, when they're not playing football for long stretches of time, they lose a lot of weight. They get that weight off of them because they don't need that weight on them when they're not playing football. I guarantee you, Jerick McKinnon's walking weight is $170, $175, $180 at most. He's a little man.
Julia Gulia, I just want to.
No, yeah, go.
She says, "I'm guessing Lance had a different reaction to the Karlaftis putting KT on his back a couple days ago."
Yeah, let me put it like this, Julia.
Lance was like, "Oh, come on, do the old Birdman meme."
Look, I've never one that likes seeing people get hit dirty. I personally didn't, and I know it sounds cool, of course.
Put him on his ass.
But I felt like
it was a late hit.
But it didn't feel like Karlaftis was trying to lay him out. I feel like he ran into him.
That's not his personality.
No, that's what I'm saying. I feel like he ran into him. Like the more I watch it,
George a big boy.
That's what I'm saying. He weighs 100 pounds more than Kadarius. Like
Kelsey didn't like it. I'll tell you.
And I get why Kelsey did. I'm not mad about the situation. I think it was a non-starter. I think the whole reason it got elevated is because Kadarius Toney threw the football at him. Yeah. But outside of that, I felt like it was an accident.
I think
Karlaftis here.
I think it hurt him.
That
bitch hurt.
Yes, because Karlaftis is a big motherfucker.
Sting, yeah.
I know I'm sounding like I'm making special pleading here for Karlaftis, guys, but I really truly believe he was not trying to hit Kadarius. I think they ran into each other. It's a violent, fast-paced sport.
I'd have a problem.
Two men ran into each other and one lost because one doesn't weigh 285 pounds. You know what I mean? There's a difference here, man. So I think that's what happened. I think he got elevated. Travis, obviously being the leader that he is, he has to go and say something.
Yeah.
But I think that we all know deep down Karlaftis has a heart of gold. He ain't trying to hurt anybody, let alone a teammate. He ain't trying to do that. He ain't trying to kill nobody.
He probably said whoops audibly when he hit him. Whoops. He probably, dude, come on. George was like, sorry.
Exactly what I'm saying.
My bad.
We've never heard a negative thing about George Karlaftis, the man or the player.
Yeah.
Not one single time. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here. I think he just ran into Kadarius because the more you watch it, the more that didn't look like he was. He didn't move his shoulder into him or anything like that.
Or Kadarius was talking shit.
He probably was.
And George was like, okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Let me show you a little something here. And there's a lot of that during camp that we don't see, man. A lot of underlying narratives going on between teammates that talk shit on the opposition.
Exactly like Chief KT said right here. It's funny how people saw that video and said that Kelsey was fighting with his teammate. No, he wasn't. Exactly.
No.
That's exactly right, Chief KT. Travis was just checking a dude. Travis Kelsey is the leader of this team outside of Patrick Mahomes. And he had to check Karlaftis. He gave him a shove. They're brothers.
She was like, listen, motherfucker, save that for the Raiders. Save that for the Raiders, all right?
That's why when TMZ and all these other places picked it up, I'm like, guys, that's an utter lie. It's sensationalism at its finest, man.
Yeah, that's what leaders do. Travis is doing what leaders do, man.
Yeah. But no, I just wanted to put that out there because I love that Julie asked the question because I did put out on Twitter. I was like, I kind of enjoyed it, to be honest with you. It kind of felt good, like to see
it moved a little.
To see Kadarius get dropped on his ass. Like, yeah, the guy that's outing his team, lying and saying that, that I'm not really hurt, they're lying about me, and then saying that AI generated his story on Instagram.
He's an odd cat, man.
Yeah, to see him get knocked on his ass, I didn't hate it. I'm just
putting
that out there.
But...
we've had people ask, or not ask, but just opinions on Sky Moore, guys. I kind of feel that he's getting lumped into the whole Justin Ross situation. I think he's obviously much higher valued player. He's a second round pick, but we're not hearing anything out of camp about Sky Moore.
Yeah.
Unless he's out there woeing and wowing people, I don't really know how he's making this roster. Because of the fact, like I said, that Nico Remigio, now maybe Justin Watson's injury is prolonged and they already had plans of keeping Nico. Maybe Sky Moore does now fit into the equation, but I just feel that there's going to be this relief that we don't even know it really exists when the day comes that Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore are no longer on this team. And I know that people have been entertaining this, and I think it's just utter fucking nonsense that people are talking about. Hey, I saw Kadarius over there running the ball. Maybe he's going to be a running back. Guys, Kadarius Toney can't stay healthy returning punts. He can't stay healthy catching passes.
Can't get bumped by George Karlaftis.
And you think he's going to run between the A and B gaps?
Listen, man.
Come on, kids.
I'm still rooting for my guy Kadarius. I still want to see him become something on this team.
But we know what this is.
But
we know what this is. We know this is the Chiefs say, hey, anybody got a conditional sixth? You saw him. He ran the football a couple times. You saw that? You saw Kadarius? He was running the ball.
Hey, Giants.
Yeah. Can't catch the ball, but he ran it.
Need a playmaker, maybe.
Yeah. So I just think that's all it is. The Chiefs are just trying to see if maybe somebody out there like, hey, our wide receivers got hurt, our running back just got hurt. Luckily, Kadarius Toney's both. Can you guys, what would you guys want, for him in return? I think that's honestly all this is. I think his days are definitely numbered. I think when it comes to Sky Moore, it's the same exact thing. Sky Moore is just in a different world because he's not the guy that has the distractions off the field. He's the nice guy that everybody likes, and he's got a big smile, and he's charming, but he doesn't do anything on the football field. And I think that his time's coming up as well. It's just a business, guys. I hate to say it. I know we fall in love with these players, and we get so enamored with them, and we get so caught up in these guys. Some of these dudes, they're just not long for the road here in Kansas City, guys. We have to be able to accept that sometimes Brett Veach is going to swing and miss it at certain picks. I don't think he did with Rashee. I think Rashee's going to be an absolute success here in Kansas City for as long as he's here, but I don't think Sky Moore is. I don't think Sky Moore is at all. I know people think that he's being underutilized or utilized incorrectly. I trust Andy Reid.
Yeah.
I trust that Andy Reid's going to put guys in positions for success because he's been coaching forever.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at Andy Reid's career. When did guys leave Andy Reid and become some all-star? Like, Andy Reid, you're underutilizing that guy. That's never happened in Andy Reid's career, bro. He's always got the best out of his guys. He knows how to utilize guys to their skill sets, and there's no track record of Andy Reid being wrong about a guy and letting him go, and he becomes a superstar somewhere else, or at least a star player, a somewhat recognizable player anywhere else. It just doesn't happen.
Well, I don't know if you guys have noticed. I have, especially over the last 24 hours. Teams are getting really, really Looney Tunes when it comes to spending on quarterbacks. These teams are getting desperate, kids. And I know that the market is what the market is, but that doesn't mean that some of these quarterbacks are worth the money they're getting because these guys are not. I tweeted yesterday, I don't know if there has ever been an offseason where more guys got undeserving money at quarterback than this offseason. This offseason has been nuts. Now, I will preface this by saying a lot of these quarterbacks that got their money this offseason are young bucks. Yep. So they might turn into something badass. They might end up becoming, top 10 quarterbacks, top 5 quarterbacks. Like they might end up becoming that. But none of them are, at least not to this point of their careers. And that's a massive, massive risk for what these guys are getting paid. Trevor, if you could put up Rich Eisen's tweet real quick of the new top 8 annually paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Would you look at it? Jordan Love now is the highest paid quarterback in the history of the NFL. $55 million annually. Trevor Lawrence got his a few weeks ago, same amount. Burrow, 55. Tua just got paid yesterday, 4 years, $212 million with the $53 million annual. Tua Tagovailoa, kids.
So crazy.
Jared Goff right behind him at 53. Justin Herbert at 52.5. Lamar at 52, and then Hurts at 51. Their combined playoff records are 16-17. Combined Super Bowls, 3 appearances. Combined Super Bowl wins, 0. Paying and hoping. Could not have said it better than one Rich Eisen. But I decided to take it one step further, and if you can go and put the next one up there, Trevor, this is the comparison to Patrick Mahomes and the rest of this list. When compared to Patrick Mahomes, the new top 8 annually paid quarterbacks in the NFL has a combined 1 fewer playoff win, 14 more playoff losses, 1 fewer Super Bowl appearance, and 3 fewer Super Bowl wins. Patrick Mahomes has done more in his 6 years as a starter than the top 8 annually paid quarterbacks in the league today. Think about how insane that is. The Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes on an annual salary of $45 million a year. And I remember, Trevor, just a couple of years ago, when we saw that Patrick Mahomes got that big contract, it was more than a couple of years ago, it was 2020, when he got that $497 million contract, and he's getting all this money, and everybody thought, oh, well, that was the end of the Chiefs. I hope they enjoyed their run. I heard Colin Cowherd say it. I heard all these. You can't pay Patrick Mahomes this kind of money and still be winning. And the Chiefs have not only continued to do that, but now what we're seeing, Trevor, is the market has jumped up by a full $10 million per year.
Probably should have paid him more, yeah.
For quarterbacks who not only have never won at this point, unlike Patrick Mahomes when he got his money, but are now looking to try to finally start winning. So what's the narrative for them? When these guys can't win shit when they were cheap. Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl on his rookie deal. Patrick Mahomes has won 2 on his veteran deal. What have these guys done? So we look at the rest of the league right now, and it's almost like they're like Rich Eisen said, paying and hoping. It's almost like, oh please, if we pay him $55 a year, he'll finally be great. Like Trevor Lawrence, we both like him.
Yeah,
we both really do. But Trevor Lawrence has not been a great quarterback once in his career.
It's had some good moments.
Good moments. Yeah. So has Tua, though.
Yeah.
Tua's had 6 touchdown games.
Can't be consistent.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson's the closest to great on this list. He's a 2-time MVP. Has 2 playoff wins.
Yeah, Jordan Love was good for 8 games last year.
Hey, that's my point, bro. This is what
we don't know.
I think teams are getting reckless.
Yeah.
I think teams are getting reckless. I think they're deciding to spend this money in the hopes that these guys are going to become something, but they don't understand if these guys don't pan out, they are fucked for years to come.
Yeah.
And dead money and all kinds. Look at the Justin Herbert situation. I know it sounds nuts right now in 2024, but I don't think it's crazy, Trevor. If Jim Harbaugh plans on sticking around for 5+ years, I don't think it's crazy that when the dead money starts to evaporate on Justin Herbert's immaculate contract, I don't think it's crazy they move off Justin Herbert and say, I want my quarterback. Because in Jim Harbaugh's defense, he can say, well, you had a gunslinger that I got to inherit, which is super talented, but he doesn't play my style of football. I want a J.J. McCarthy type. I want an Alex Smith type, more of a conservative, check it down kind of guy. That's not who Justin Herbert is. I think that Jim Harbaugh wants his guy. So I know it sounds nuts right now because of the money Justin Herbert's making and who he is to everybody who thinks that he's some god. But I'm telling you, in the 2 years, if Jim Harbaugh hasn't won anything yet, let's say they made the playoffs once or twice, but they've never really gotten anywhere, haven't won the division, and then all of a sudden Justin Herbert's 28 years old and his money's evaporated as far as dead money.
You think that's the most likely scenario? Or you think Justin Herbert can find something with Jim Harbaugh?
Let me put it like this. I know everybody wants to blame Brandon Staley for the problems they had, and I get it because he was a very bad head coach. Yeah. But he wasn't the only coach that Justin Herbert had. He didn't even in his best season in 2020 when they had no fans and he threw 36 touchdowns and broke all these records, they still didn't amount to much. And people said, well, that Chargers team wasn't ready. They had primetime Austin Eckler, prime Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, who was 24. Yep. They had the tight end, number 7.
Gerald Everett.
Jared Everett. They had a great offensive line with Corey Linsley and Rashawn Slater.
Yeah, that team was loaded.
Defense was loaded. What are we talking about?
Yeah. Well, with him, it's situationally.
Yeah.
He is not good in situational football, man. Right? So when it comes to we saw that, on the biggest display, biggest opportunity against the Jaguars in that playoff game. Was an absolute dud in that second half. Had a massive lead and they blew it.
Right.
You couldn't do a damn thing that whole second. It was incredibly painful to watch.
And this is the point I'm trying to make is that now that Jim Harbaugh's coming back from a decade of absence in the NFL, He is taking on a very talented quarterback, but this quarterback has played now 4 or 5 years of one style of football, just slinging the ball, slinging the ball, slinging the ball, slinging the ball. Is he going to want to take on another challenge of being something else?
Yeah.
And is this team prepared for it? And like I told Sean Merriman, I was on Arrowhead Allies talking to Sean Merriman, and I said, dude, I picture Jim Harbaugh as like as the Larry Brown of the NFL.
Oh yeah.
Where he can go win in college, he can go win in the pros.
Yeah.
But it's different now because the Niners in 2011, when Jim Harbaugh took over, that was a made-ready team. They had a ton of stars. It wasn't their quarterback that was the main star. They had a plethora of stars across the board. So that team was made ready to win. They just needed a coach.
Chargers are
This
full rebuild. Basically.
Yes,
yeah.
And they're in the Patrick Mahomes Chiefs division. Like if they're in the NFC South, I'm like, oh, dude. This is an 11-win team.
Yeah.
This is an 11-win team. Like, this team can win the division, make a deep run in the NFC playoffs because they don't have that juggernaut sitting atop of them. Like, you go into Patrick Mahomes' division, you're already conceded for second place. So now you're hoping for a wild card situation, which means the Chargers are going to have to go on the road to somewhere where it's going to be insanely tough, insanely volatile for them and their team, this new young team. Jim Harbaugh hasn't been in the league in 10 years. You got Justin Herbert, who you just said is horrible situationally, maybe talented beyond belief, but he's horrible situationally. Imagine,
same thing with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, imagine if they have to go to like Buffalo. Yeah. Or imagine if they have to go to Kansas City for the playoffs in the wild card round. Like Baltimore, go to any place like that has experience, playoff situations with coaches and quarterbacks that know how to win. I'm telling you, you're picking the Chargers? So that's the first season.
Right.
Then the second season, like, do they develop it? So I don't want to make this into a Chargers debate. My point is, if you look at a lot of these quarterbacks right now, Trevor, these teams are banking on them becoming something at least close to what Patrick Mahomes is. Because you're paying them better than Patrick Mahomes. And again, I know the market is what it is, but there's a reason why the Chiefs got out ahead of it with Patrick Mahomes, because they knew this dude's going to be special. Let's get him in now while the market is where it's at now, and he'll stay happy when we give him little raises here and there. But we're not going to ever spend this type of money and him be at the top of it when we know that he wants to win, because that's the question you have to ask. Yeah. Some of these quarterbacks, is winning their number one objective? Because if they're going to try to max out their money where they're taking 40% of the cap, how are you going to win? Especially when you are taking on Patrick Mahomes, because a number of these guys are in the AFC. So how's your team going to get better when you're zapping up that much of your cap space? Some of you are in his division. How are you going to ever beat this dude? You couldn't beat him when you're on your rookie deals. Like, think about that. Like, Trevor Lawrence is no longer on his rookie deal. Justin Herbert's no longer on his rookie deal. Lamar Hunt's no longer on his rookie deal. Tua is no longer on his rookie deal. Joe Burrow's no longer. Those are the AFC quarterbacks. Yep. They're all in the 50s. Good luck. Good luck. Beating the Chiefs now.
And in Joe Burrow's situation, his team, he's got T. Higgins is going to be gone probably, maybe if not at some point this season.
Yeah.
The trade deadline. He's for sure gone next year. He's got, who was it? Hendrickson that was trying to demand a trade.
Yeah, Trey Henderson.
Yeah, Trey Henderson. Yeah. So I mean, they're gonna be losing pieces too, and they're not gonna be able to pay guys to keep guys around. Obviously, they can't pay T. Higgins, or else they would have already done it by now. I don't know, man. There's a lot of things in flux there for them as well. Then the Ravens have a great roster right now, but when it comes time to pay all those guys, they've already lost some pieces. I think they lost Patrick Queen this past offseason too. So I mean,
doesn't it feel like these teams and the Chiefs are going in opposite directions? Where these teams now are just now starting to pay their quarterbacks?
I mean, winning helps, a lot of that. We actually got the job done several times already now, so we have the leverage with players wanting to come play here for a winning environment, that changed things. It's similar to how it was with the Patriots.
If one of these quarterbacks would have won a Super Bowl before they got this new deal, I'd be like, you know what?
Whole different story. Yeah, Joe Burrow would have beat the Rams. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
they earned that. Like, you beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. You won the Super Bowl. Yeah. Pay that dude whatever. None of these dudes have even been. Jared Goff's been to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow's been to the Super Bowl. Outside of that, none of these guys. Lamar Hunt went to one AFC championship. Or Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson went to one AFC championship. Hurts went to the Super Bowl. They all lost their biggest games of their career.
Yep.
All of them. So that's my point, man. Is that you're trying to build a winner around these guys. You got to do that when they're at their cheapest. Because now what's going to happen is you're going to have to sacrifice veteran players to hope that the draft is in your favor, while the Chiefs continue to stay young and vibrant around Patrick Mahomes with core infrastructure veterans. They've done it perfectly, and they did this years ago. Like, the Chiefs set this up 4 or 5 years ago when they got Travis Kelce locked up. They got Chris Jones locked up. They got Patrick Mahomes locked up. Those are their core 3 pieces.
Yeah.
Extended Andy Reid and Brett Veach, and then drafted the shit out of their defense and got, cheap veterans like Juju, Hollywood Brown, guys like that, just to bring in and just continue to swing the door open.
Our guy Justin Orton in the chat makes a comment. His contract will go down as the best in his NFL history.
I think it already is.
Which is so funny because when it happened, when it took place, everyone was like, oh, everyone was gasping and saying this could be the worst contract decision, a 10-year deal, that much money. Everyone was like, chastising it so bad and talking down. I could go down as one of the worst contracts. But now, in hindsight, a few years later, we're looking at it and we got people talking about this is the best contract in NFL history.
Absolute steal.
That just goes to show you the greatness of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and what they've done together, man.
I can't believe and believe it or not, Mike Florio made a good point. He said, you look at Patrick Mahomes' deal right now, it's absurd and all this stuff. He goes, this man should be making more than $100 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, this is when, okay, and I'm not gonna make this into a
demand, yeah.
I'm not gonna make this into a political conversation, but guys, when people talk about like, oh, players make too much money and, the school teachers and firefighters don't make enough money. That's all true. Like, I believe school teachers and firefighters and cops, they all should make a ton more money than they do. That's beside the point, though, guys, because what these entertainers are doing, like Patrick Mahomes, is they're raking in revenues that, unfortunately, firefighters and teachers and cops, they just don't bring in. Because the entertainment business is so prevalent and thrives so much in America that's why guys like him make the money they make. And let's be real, to Mike Florio's point, they should be making a lot more money than they actually do because there's a salary cap. Like, imagine if there's no salary cap right now in football. What do you think Patrick Mahomes' contract would look like?
Bro.
I mean, we see baseball. We see Bryce Harper get, $480 million on his contract. That was 4 or 5 years ago. Patrick Mahomes in the NFL, I mean, that's an $800, $900 million contract. Easily. Look at Shohei Ohtani, what he just got. Like, multiply that. Yeah. That's what Patrick Mahomes should be getting if there was no salary cap in the NFL. And I love the idea, I don't know if you saw this or not, that they're finally going with this idea, and I credit to Josh Klingler, formerly of 610, he just retired about a week ago. He brought up this idea years ago about how quarterback salaries need to be taken off of the cap. Yeah, the cap. You pay them whatever you want, and then you pay your team. I think that's a great idea. Because how important the quarterback position is for the league and knowing that these guys are going to just continue to make just insane amounts of money.
That way you just pay your skill players.
Yeah.
Like your edge rushers and receivers.
Yeah, you get your $260 million of cap space for all your 52 other players. Figure out how to pay those guys. Let them make their money. Your quarterback it almost gets treated like the coach position where you don't really know how much they're making or it doesn't really go against your cap. It just goes, the team pays that. They just basically write a check every year. They write a check to that quarterback.
That'd be interesting.
I think that'd be the best way of doing things. And I think that you'd see more competitive teams. It actually wouldn't help the Chiefs because other teams would try to get better rosters.
Yeah.
But it would make more parity though. You'd have a lot more parity in the league. But make no mistake about it. We all love dynasties in the NFL. People, whether they hate it or love the Patriots, it was great for football.
Yeah.
What the Chiefs are doing, it's great for football.
Dynasties are great for sports in general, man.
Because you either love or hate the team, but either way, you're watching.
Yeah.
Like, we know that, I think it was the Eagles and Chiefs, that was the highest rated Super Bowl of all time. And people, they probably hated the Chiefs, probably loved the Taylor Swift thing. That became the highest rated, I think, after that. Yeah. Against the Niners this last year.
Two great fan bases, too.
Yeah.
The eyeballs at just Philly and Kansas City alone,
And then San Francisco, we know how big that fan base is, and Kansas City's growing and thriving as well. Man, you're seeing Ice Spice and Taylor Swift and what's Ryan Reynolds' wife? Blake Lively.
Blake Lively.
You're seeing all them dancing and moving around up in the suites and stuff. Like, that adds to things, man. So, like, what these players are making, they're the ones bringing these A-list stars, like Hugh Jackman is showing up to Chiefs games now, like Little John's down there, they're doing their thing. Like, what they're bringing to you can't put a price tag on Patrick Mahomes. And the money these guys are making now that have done nothing nowhere near what Patrick Mahomes has done is it's getting wild to me, man. And I know what the market is, guys. I'm a believer that, if the market tells you should make this money, go make that money.
Yeah.
But if I was one of these franchises, I would have never paid Trevor Lawrence that money. I would have never paid Tua that money. I would have never paid Jordan Love that money yet.
Yeah.
And I know that they feel like they're hamstrung, but guys, I mean, outside of a few of these teams, I feel like all these quarterbacks can be replaced. I really do believe that. And the guy that should be celebrating more than anybody is Dak Prescott.
Oh man.
You imagine how much money he's going to make now? Because either the Cowboys pay him now or he hits the open market after this season. And now that you see these quarterbacks get paid, imagine how much money he's going to make.
Yep.
Hey, I bet you, I'll put this out here right now, guys. I bet you next season, if he doesn't make money this year from the Dallas Cowboys,
59
he'll have $70 million a year. I bet you Dak Prescott gets $70 million a year. Because you know what? Unlike these other guys, I actually think Dak Prescott's a top 5 quarterback.
Dak's legit.
No, Lamar's a top 5 quarterback too.
Dak's definitely legit, man.
Yes, Dak Prescott's better than people think he is.
I'm a fan.
Yes, I think he's definitely been a victim of a circumstance. I think Dak Prescott is at 31 years old, who's got plenty of football left in him. $70 million a year for a 4 or 5 year deal. I bet he gets 300 whatever that million is, dude. I guarantee he gets that. I bet he's the highest paid quarterback of all time by the end of his career. Because it's perfect.
That Dallas Cowboy money is different too.
But you know Patrick's going to get another raise because his contract I think ends in 2032. I want to say it was 2031, 2032. So Patrick's going to get an extension probably in the next 3 years. That'll probably put him like 2036, like a 3 or 4 year extension. He's going to get 65, 70 million a year. But I just love, like I said, I can't get over just how the guys that are nowhere near the accomplishments of Patrick Mahomes is getting paid 10, 12 million more per year. I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Meanwhile, you got Stafford, who just won a Super Bowl not a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Just basically took a restructuring pay cut.
Yeah.
To keep, things afloat over there and working on things over there. So it's just the guys that are actually winning aren't making the money that all these other guys are. So it's,
Our guy Brent asked Dak top 5 over who? I'm glad you asked because my next segment is actually I want to get reactions from Trevor because a few weeks ago, guys, remember I did that solo act when Trevor wasn't here with us. I did the top 10 quarterbacks, my top 10 quarterbacks, and then I also had another list of which quarterbacks out after Patrick Mahomes would I select to start a team with. I have those 2 lists. Let's start with the top 10 quarterbacks going into the 2024 season. This is my list, guys. This is not Trevor's list. This is no one else's list. This is my list. Now, I want to get Trevor's reactions to it so we can talk more about it. And the 10's cut off, Trevor. That's Jordan Love at number 10. I want to get your thoughts on this list, man. You've never seen this list before. At least I don't think you have. So give me whatever reaction you have. You guys in the chat, if you've not seen this list yet, or if you want to chime in, let me know. But this is my list, and I can give you reasoning for all 10. Now, obviously, you guys know why number 1 is number 1. But outside of that, I can give you guys legitimate reason why I have these guys where they're at.
Well, first of all, my biggest grief probably with this list is the fact that Jared Goff is above Joe Burrow. I understand probably it's more injury related. I get that, and especially with him coming off that weird injury last year where it was like a nerve issue in his arm. That's massively concerning. But Joe Burrow, I think, is a top 3, top 4 talent at the quarterback position in the league. So I have to have Joe Burrow higher, especially. I don't fault you for your Matt Stafford love. I know you have your undying love for him, and I think he, like I said, he's one of the few guys that actually just won a Super Bowl recently and was actually a big contributor to why they did. He's not just some dude that rode the coattails of a great defense or something. He was legitimate, and he's got a new weapon. I think he's going to ball this year, barring health. I think that offense is going to be really fun with Puka Nacua taking the next step, who's already a superstar.
Yep.
So he's got 2 superstars at receiver. He's got a legitimate tight end, and that team's going to be good this year. So I don't fault you for, but 3 is high for Stafford. But I don't hate this list. I think it's like I said, other than Jared Goff being over Burrow, I think I would put Burrow probably in the top 5, honestly. I think Burrow's better than Lamar Jackson personally. Dak Prescott being in the top 5 is interesting. I would probably have my top 5 would probably be Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Man, that top 5 it's shifty right now because there's a lot of young guys up and coming. But the top 2, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and then I'd probably have Stafford there at the top 5, and then Dak right on the outside looking in. I think C.J. Stroud is coming though. I think that guy has arrived. I think C.J. Stroud is the truth.
Shit, by next year he might be number 2 on this list.
I mean, dude, he could be the MVP this next season. I think he was already a dark horse candidate going into this year. How he came just bursting into the scene. But we all know that second year is telling too. The teams get some tape on you. He could fall back down to earth and get humbled pretty quickly. This league is unforgiving, right? So hopefully he takes that next step because I'm a big fan of CJ Stroud. I love what his game is like, and I think the situation he's in over there is a great situation. He's got some young talent around him as well. So I don't hate this list, man. I think it's a good list. I think some people might think Jalen Hurts a little too low. I think Jalen Hurts I've always been on the train that Jalen Hurts is overrated, in my personal opinion. I think he's a great athlete. I definitely do. But as far as a thrower of a football and a consistent QB and analyzer of the game as the game's breaking down, I think he falls short in a lot of ways compared to a lot of these other guys. As far as a mind of the game, incredible. And maybe the best athlete on this list, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
He's incredible. Him and Lamar Jackson both. But yeah, man, I don't hate this list. I think Stafford's a little high, but I think Jared Goff's being above Joe Burrow is a little disrespectful in my opinion. But Jared Goff's a stud in his own right, But he's a good guy, and he's a good guy that can operate a system really, really well. And I think he's steering Detroit in a good direction. But yeah, I don't hate this list.
I feel for Joe Burrow what you feel for Jalen Hurts. I think Joe Burrow is the most overrated quarterback in the league.
Okay,
and here's the reason why. Listen, I think what happened. And I'm a victim of this because I remember when Joe Burrow first came in the league, I was eating it all up. This dude's a stud. He had the greatest, the LSU team that won the title in 2020. Best team ever. There was talented top to bottom. Coach O had that thing running. Yeah. Joe Burrow was a badass smoking the cigar. He's got the swag. He got the aura about him.
Yeah.
And he's just cool. I think when you buy into a guy and he's cool, you kind of overlook what he actually is as a player. And if you look at Joe Burrow's career as a whole, it's very incomplete. He's hurt all the time.
Yeah. No,
He's missed 15 games already in his career. And
he's had massive injuries.
Yeah, and he's relied a lot. Let's be real, man. His whole career, he's had nothing but awesome weapons to throw to. And even then, we've seen games where 5 interception games. How does that even happen?
Yeah.
I know he made a Super Bowl, but let's be real for a second. That had more to do with the Chiefs melting down than Joe Burrow. How do I know that? Joe Burrow had 5 touchdown passes in 4 playoff games in that run.
Yeah.
He was throwing a touchdown every 48 pass attempts. That's not good in a postseason run. That defense, that coaching staff was what was winning those games for the Bengals. Burrow was simply staying out of the way. You remember the first game of the playoffs against the Raiders when that whole weird situation happened where Joe Burrow, he stepped out of bounds, they blew the whistle, and that was weird, and how it ended. And then against Ryan Tannehill when he threw 3 horrific picks. These games were more about the other team than Joe Burrow, but he was building his legacy off of it. Where the Chiefs were up 21-3 at half. Should have been 28-3 at half. And they blew it. The Chiefs blew that game. And then you see in the Super Bowl, the only touchdown Burrow has is when T. Higgins yanks the helmet of Jalen Ramsey and pulls him to the ground. They don't call OPI, and T. Higgins just running downfield and catch the ball. It's a touchdown.
So you do think Jared Goff is better than...
I do, and here's the reason why. Because you said, hold on. Because Jared, and I'm not even the biggest Jared Goff guy, by the way.
It's just the fact that he's above in that list, and the fact that Jordan Love is on there and Herbert's not, I think is another reason.
I'll explain that. I'll explain that. Jared Goff, to me, is the epitome of consistency. He plays every game. He never gets hurt.
No,
right?
I like Jared Goff, man. He's an easily likable guy.
Extremely accurate quarterback.
Yep.
He's extremely consistent, and he has also been to Super Bowl. He's been to 2 Super Bowls or an NFC Championship with the Lions. He's changing.
Close, man.
He's changing the trajectory of a horrific franchise.
Sure.
He went to the Super Bowl with Sean McVay, who was an unproven coach at that time. Granted, they absolutely shit the bed. But what I'm saying is Jared Goff, you're seeing the development every single year. It seems like he's getting better every single year.
Same thing with Joe Burrow, though. When has Jared Goff been without extreme talent around him offensively?
That's fair. My point, though, is, Trevor, this Lions team before Jared Goff, what were they doing? And this is with Matt Stafford. I love Matt Stafford. Before Jared Goff, what were they doing?
I mean, they're on the rise a little bit. They weren't awful.
But he's taking them to the NFC Championship, and he was balling.
Yeah. But they also drafted Amon-Ra.
But look, so my list is comprised
of football here in the next couple of years.
My list is comprised of quarterbacks that play. What do they do in the regular and postseason? If you look at Jared Goff's career numbers in the postseason, they're better than Joe Burrow's.
Yeah.
And when you look at the regular season, they're very comparable.
Yeah.
Very comparable. And again, he's the healthier player. So I just have him one notch over. And don't get me wrong. If Joe Burrow goes out there this year and throws 4,600 yards and 30 touchdowns, and Joe Burrow or Jared Goff has a decent year, you can intermediate. I just don't think Joe Burrow's a top 3 quarterback right now. I think he's got the talent, like you said. He's a top 3 talent.
That's my argument.
But as far as performance, as consistency,
you got to be available.
You got to be available.
Yeah.
And last season, what happened? 2020 towards ACL, these are things that just consistently get thrown in his way. Now they're saying his hand injury may never fully heal. They're saying that's going to really mess with his throwing abilities.
Yeah, and the nerve thing too is weird.
Yeah, man.
He takes one big hit again, and that reactivates that nerve in his arm, and he wasn't even able to throw the ball at all. He couldn't even grip the ball, hold it tight.
Right.
That's very, very concerning. I mean, he's had his leg and knee injuries, but like
now he's got a scalp injury now too. I don't know if you saw his hair. He's got a scalp injury.
Bro, what is this dude?
And then, like, Dustin Orton just said right here, let Burrow have the offensive weapons that Mahomes had last year and see how well he does.
Oh, no,
exactly.
no. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, no, that's not even have that conversation.
That's why I don't have him as an elite quarterback.
I don't think any other quarterback in the NFL would be able to win a Super Bowl like Patrick Mahomes.
Now, you mentioned Jalen Hurts and Justin Herbert.
Sure.
About why, I have one on there and not in the other. Okay, Justin Herbert, and it's the same thing with Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow's more accomplished. Justin Herbert is a top 3 talent.
Cannon.
But he is not a top 10 quarterback. Think about it. He has only gotten worse as time has gone on. His rookie season with no fans, and he had no pressure on him, and nobody knew who he was. Yeah. He was just some kid from Oregon out there just wheeling and dealing the ball, having fun. Then when the expectations came, what happened? Then he throws for 26 touchdowns, then 25 touchdowns, then 27 touchdowns. Like, he's throwing the ball a ton. He throws the ball since 2020. Only Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes have more pass attempts than Justin Herbert, right? And yet he is, I think it's like 6th or 7th in touchdowns. How is that possible? Yeah. With the weapons he's had, with the amount of throws he has. Now, he doesn't turn the ball over a lot.
Yeah.
My point, though, is I haven't seen Justin Herbert take that next step. Because all these quarterbacks on this list right here, at least one time in their career, have taken that step. Like, look at C.J. Stroud. Look what he did with that Texans team. Immediately. Like, that's why I said I would take C.J. Stroud over Justin Herbert. Yeah. Because although Justin might be a more talented player, I think he's more talented over half this list. But when it comes to, like you said, in-game decisions, what does he do? The one time we saw him in the postseason, what did he do? Have one of the biggest choke jobs in the history of the NFL. In fact, I think it was the largest deficit that any team's ever come back from.
Yeah, I lost a lot of respect for him in that game, and I'm not mad that you have Jordan Love over him. I was just curious to why. I would probably have Jordan Love over him right now. If I'm picking between those two guys, it's tough.
Oh, I think you said Jalen Hurts. My bad.
Oh, no, I was talking about Jordan Love.
Oh, Jordan. No, see, that's the thing about Jordan. Jordan Love is that once he clicked, I feel like those 8 games, I feel like those games are real. I feel like Jordan Love really is becoming that guy. You saw what he did in Dallas. They went in there with Hobbs, a banged up Christian Watson, and a backup tight end, and a banged up running back, and Jones. Banged up team, youngest team in the NFL, and beat the living shit out of the Cowboys in their house.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love was hooping, dude. That dude was killing them.
That's what I was saying. Like, the thing that I don't like about Justin Herbert, like, he has the talent, obviously it's there, but he doesn't have that grittiness to like really want to go win.
Yeah.
I'll give Jalen Hurts that credit. That dude sacrificed his body numerous times. He's I think he's the best athlete at quarterback, honestly, if I'm being honest. It's tight between him and Lamar, I get it, and Josh Allen, obviously.
I think Jalen's a better athlete.
But Jalen Hurts is an unbelievable athlete, dude. Strength, and just a durability, and his playing through injuries, and it's just strong as shit. It's ridiculously strong. But when it comes to Jordan Love, that dude wants to win. You see it. He sacrificed his body numerous times. He's obviously gotten better. Getting more live bullets and reps, and he has that ability. This season's going to be really telling for him, especially after getting paid. But I don't hate the fact that he's on this list and Justin Herbert's not.
And one more thing, Jordan Love, what he did to that Chiefs team last year.
I mean,
he's one of the few quarterbacks I've ever seen dominate the Chiefs. He dominated the Chiefs.
Yeah, great. I mean, it was incredible game plan by the coaching staff.
But he made all the throws. He made all the throws, dude. He was making all the throws
with the youngest offensive football.
Yes.
I mean, Romeo Dobbs, and they didn't even have their speedster out there. So there were a couple rookie tight ends.
Yeah.
It was very impressive. I mean, what they did all year last year, especially the second half of the year, was incredible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and the same, like, also with Herbert. Like, I've seen Herbert. He has a possibility to scramble for a first down on a 3rd and long, and he runs out of bounds before he gets the first down. That kind of stuff, like, that turns me off on a quarterback. If you do lay out, especially a big guy like him, 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", you know what I mean? So go out there and lay out for that first down. He just doesn't do it, and I lose respect for guys like that, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and just to tie up this list, I have Jalen Hurts on my list because of the fact that I saw this dude have one of the greatest Super Bowl performances in the history of the
He's
of the
for
NFL.
sure a top 10 quarterback.
Yes.
For sure right now.
From an athletic standpoint, I do agree with you. Like, when plays break down sometimes, it does look like a game gets a little too big for him. But I've seen Jalen Hurts make some of the most unreal plays, both with his arm and legs, that it's hard for me to keep this dude off this list. Again, I've seen him do it in the postseason. I've seen him do it in the regular season. When he's healthy, this dude's one of the most deadly weapons in the entire NFL. Like he's, and I'll be honest with you, I think he's a little underrated as a thrower. I've seen him make some damn good throws downfield to AJ Brown again and again.
Another guy has had great weapons. Yeah.
So it's kind of a give and take, but like I said, I have to have him on my list because I saw him go toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes and put up 5 touchdowns in that game. Yeah. He had like 500 yards total.
And the fact that Tua is making more money than him is hilarious, though. The whole story, the whole parallels between those two guys and their careers is hilarious, and the fact that Tua's the lesser of the two is making more than him is hilarious, man.
Yeah, and I do have Matt Stafford very high on this list, but if you look at the guys,
I don't hate that, man.
Yeah, Matt Stafford. If you look at his career, he has one of the best statistical careers in NFL history. He's already got over 50,000 passing yards, over 300 passing touchdowns. He has I think it was a 94, 95 quarterback rating. The one time he's had a Super Bowl caliber team, what did he do? Won the fucking Super Bowl. And he had one of the best seasons. That dude had go look at his playoff run in that year. Guys, I'm serious. While you're watching this or listening to this right now, go to Pro Football Reference, look up the 2021 season, go look at Matt Stafford's postseason run. Go look at his numbers in that postseason run.
His numbers have been incredible his whole career.
And look at this. Trevor and I are Rodgers guys, right? We grew up watching Aaron Rodgers. We loved watching him back.
My favorite quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes. Man.
Guys, Matt Stafford's a better postseason quarterback than Aaron Rodgers.
It's true.
Go look at the numbers. They've played almost the exact same amount of games.
Wins too.
They both won the exact same amount of Super Bowls, but Matt Stafford's numbered yards per game, touchdowns, interception ratio, and rating higher than Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers is one of the 5 best quarterbacks to ever live. Yeah. And Matt Stafford, who continues to get shit on because he played with the fucking Lions for 11 years, gets a chance finally with the Rams. And what's he do, guys? And then he leads that team to the postseason. Last year had no business getting to the postseason. That team was injury prone, all kinds of crap. And that, like Trevor said, now this team this year, healthy, young, motivated, savvy. Watch out for the Rams this year. That's all I'm going to say, dude.
I like them heading into last year, too. They had some slumps, but...
Yeah.
And
their offensive line's better now.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp was hurt, too.
Cooper Kupp of Coffee's healthy.
Yeah.
Our guy Puka Nacua year 2.
Puka's a fucking...
I mean, the running game with what's-his-face? Williams?
Yeah, Kyron Williams.
Oh, my God.
They just drafted another dog, too. I can't remember his name.
Their defense is going to be stronger. And Sean McVay, who I think is, outside of Andy Reid, the best coach in football. Yeah.
I agree.
So Matt Stafford is way high on my list because outside of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, I don't know if there's anybody in the league right now, a healthy Aaron Rodgers, but we don't know what Aaron Rodgers is right now. Outside of those two guys above him, there's nobody better with the football than Matt Stafford. He is unbelievably great with the football.
And he's been that guy with the baseball background that can throw on, all the different platforms and things like that and sidearm stuff. He's been one of the best gunslingers of football for years.
And I know we all love when Patrick Mahomes threw the no-look against the Ravens. He's done it before. No one has ever thrown the better no-look in the history of football than what he did in the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Yeah. It was on a 3rd and long. They're trailing.
Tight spiral, too.
To Cooper Kupp right down the middle of the field on the fucking money. There's nobody that's thrown a better no-look pass in the history of this. Yes.
In that moment.
In the Super Bowl.
Bro. That's crazy.
And we all know, if it was Patrick that did that, we'd all be saying it was Patrick.
100%.
Matt Stafford has the greatest no-look pass I've ever seen. It's not even close.
The spiral was so tight, too. It was just ridiculous, bro.
Yes, I'm telling you right now, guys, he's better than people give him credit for. And obviously, Josh Allen, you guys know I've shat on him as many times as I possibly can, but there's one thing I know about Josh Allen, is that he is consistently a guy that puts up 40 touchdowns every year.
It's only because of Patrick Mahomes that he's not a multiple Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, or at least gone to the Super Bowl a couple times. Yeah,
he would have won. Probably.
I think one.
For sure,
2020.
Yeah.
I think they
Josh Allen
beat the Buccaneers.
Incredible, bro.
I think they beat the Buccaneers.
Especially if Josh Allen balls this year, with Stephon Diggs out of the picture, and it's a lot of fluctuating pieces of their defensively too, and they go out there and they win that division again, and they somehow, there's a lot of changes this season. So if he goes up and falls this year, it's that much more.
Our guy Nick Wright definitely disagrees with that because Nick thinks he's overrated. I
love Josh.
I 100% agree with Bean, their GM, when he said there's a lot of idiots out there. When an anonymous guy came out in the league and said, "Oh yeah, well Josh Allen's probably the most overrated quarterback in the league." No, guys, no,
he's not overrated.
Josh Allen, I know that we have this kind of weird rivalry.
Yeah, there's a rivalry there, yeah.
But guys, Josh Allen is fantastic. If Patrick Mahomes would never existed, we all know deep down Josh Allen would probably be the first guy we pick to have Andy Reid coach.
He'd be the daddy of the AFC right now.
Because he's one of the greatest dual threat quarterbacks we've ever seen. He's 6'5", 255 pounds.
Sounds like a gazelle.
Yes.
That big, yeah.
Unbelievable arm. Maybe even better than Patrick's arm. He's not a better quarterback than Patrick. The point, though, is, like Trevor said, if you go and look at that 2021 divisional game, the only quarterback that could ever have beaten Josh Allen in that game the way he was playing was Patrick Mahomes.
Arguably the best playoff game of all time.
The way Josh Allen had a perfect game. He was perfect.
Every big moment they needed him, he stepped up and made
every
the play.
time.
Like,
Yes.
It ran out of time.
Patrick just simply beat him. They got the coin toss and beat him. Like, that's Josh Allen is, you guys know, like I said, I've shot on this guy about how he leads the league in turnovers since 2018. That's all true.
Yeah.
I will knock him for that, but Brett Favre also did that a lot. And Brett Favre is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So I can give Josh Allen credit while still criticizing him for the things he deserves criticism for.
Yeah.
And I know Bills fans are like, what happened to Lance? I thought he hated Josh Allen. No, I just contextualize things. And I think right now he's the second best quarterback in football.
Well,
He's definitely better than Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, they're our enemies, so yeah, we got to have some kind of disdain for you guys. But I mean, it's respect. Like,
yes.
we don't like the Bengals, and we also don't respect the Bengals either. They can go fuck themselves. I don't give a shit. The Bengals put this on themselves all the time. So,
our guy, Michael Maldonado's in. Nice.
Yep.
Way to jump in, brother. He said, "Happy Saturday, guys. Hope you guys are doing great. Here are the first $60 million quarterback in Dak going Cowboys this year, or Raiders, Giants, Steelers, or maybe Titans next offseason. It's gonna be fun to watch. I right now, as it stands, I don't think the Cowboys are paying Dak. I really don't. I think that they may get pressured into it.
You think Trey Lance the answer?
I don't think that right now. No, you know I'm a Trey Lance guy, but I think Trey Lance is a trade chip. If they're if I'm the Cowboys, I keep Dak Prescott.
You have to display some kind of value with him, though.
I'm saying though, I would keep Dak Prescott because he's the better quarterback. I don't think Trey Lance will ever be as good as Dak Prescott. I think Trey Lance can be a really good quarterback.
I hope he can become something.
Yes,
I like his abilities, man.
I think Trey Lance's absolute peak would be like a Jordan Love. I think that's what he can become. You know what I mean?
That'd be massive.
I think that'd be but Dak Prescott to me is a bigger a tier above those guys. Yeah. I would pay him. I think Dak's one of the few quarterbacks.
These other guys getting this money, dude. Dak deserves it just as much as any of them.
Yes.
Being honest, for sure.
Now we have one more list to get to, and I want to get to your guys' questions. I'm sorry I'm holding you guys up, but Trevor, I want to put that next list up here. Here are the quarterbacks after Patrick Mahomes I would select to start a team with. So as you can see here, I got Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Jordan Love, and then Caleb Williams. I definitely want to get Trevor's thoughts on this one because I know this one there's some names on here you might not understand why the hell I'm putting them on here. But go ahead, Trevor. Whatever your initial reaction is.
I mean, Anthony Richardson hasn't proven anything in the league yet. So I mean, that's definitely more of a wild card. I mean, he should at least be 5 in my opinion. Caleb Williams makes all the sense. He's a freak of nature, extremely talented, but yet we haven't seen him yet either. I'm trying to think who I would put in place of Anthony Richardson because he would not be on my list if I'm being honest with you. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is your personal opinion, and Josh Allen obviously should be number 1. I get that. C.J. Stroud is a close second in my opinion as well. But yeah, Caleb Williams, I would probably put at 3 if I'm being honest. Jordan Love could remain at 4. Anthony Richardson, if anything, the upside with Anthony Richardson, I get. The hype is so real with him and what he could be, and he could absolutely turn all the heads this season. He was kind of on his way to doing that last year before he got hurt. But another guy that deals with injuries, and I think he's a big stud, incredible arm, Josh Allen-esque type of player. If all goes right for him, his athletic profile is similar to Josh Allen, so I think there's a lot there. I mean, I don't hate the list. I just think Anthony Richardson is a little too high there. I think the other guys should all be above him in my personal opinion. I know you love the guy. But we're talking, we got to bring in, who if we're building if it's not Patrick Mahomes, you got to bring in the youth, you got to bring in the upside and what the capabilities of these guys are. For I would probably still have Trevor Lawrence over Anthony Richardson just because. Wow. I mean, Anthony Richardson has played a handful of games in the NFL. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, I know, has capabilities of becoming a star in this league. I think he definitely could be there. I would probably have Justin Herbert over Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson hasn't done anything yet, man. Like it's all hopes and dreams right now. And I think he's in a great spot. He's on a good team with great leadership. Is this building for the Chiefs or is this building just a team in general?
I would say we go with the Chiefs.
Because we don't have Patrick Mahomes.
Substituting Patrick Mahomes.
Right, yeah. I think I would take Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence over him for sure. I think I would. I mean, Anthony Richardson just hasn't done anything yet. He hasn't moved the needle at all yet. I know there's a lot of hype behind him, but That's just, I mean, Caleb Williams would probably be, honestly, that's tough. I would say he's probably maybe second for me, but I got to stick with Stroud there. I think that's too.
But see,
Stroud's too much promise.
Isn't the interesting part though is that we sit here and we talk about how Anthony Richardson hasn't done anything.
Yeah, this is a what if for you though. You could be right. You could also look like an idiot.
But Caleb's played 0 games. Caleb Williams played 0 games. CJ Stroud has had 1 season. Jordan Love's had 8 games. You know, like what I'm saying is, if you look outside of Josh Allen, none of these guys are proven.
Yeah,
on my list. That's why I put Josh Allen up there.
But Richardson has proven to be hurt, though. That's my thing.
Well, I don't think he's been proven to be hurt. He just got hurt one time.
Because of his overly physical play is what makes me nervous. I'm not worried about Caleb Williams going out there and getting hurt because of his over physical way of playing and throwing himself into situations he probably shouldn't. He's very skilled. I'm not saying Anthony Richardson isn't. He's very skilled as well. We've seen that guy jump throw 70-yard throws. It's ridiculous. He's got the abilities, but I think he likes the physical. He likes to kind of meet defenders and create contact. Guys like Caleb Williams aren't trying to do that.
No.
He's more of finesse.
He's also a lot smaller.
Sure, but he's very finesse, similar to Patrick Mahomes. His comparison his comp is Patrick Mahomes. So I think that makes more sense. But Trevor Lawrence, I think Trevor Lawrence could you put him in the hands of Andy Reid in this team could become something great. I think Justin Herbert the same thing. I think he can tighten up some things and maybe the leadership of the winning culture over here with Andy Reid. If we didn't have Patrick Mahomes, I think that guy would be an incredible asset. So, I mean, but Anthony Richardson, man, I get it. I get why you're on that train, and I just yet to see what he can really do in the NFL. And obviously, Caleb Williams is same thing. These guys are unproven. But Jordan Love, we've seen what he can do. You know, he's out-dueled Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? So there's that. There's those things. And Caleb Williams is just the guy coming into this season as far as rookies. So I just got to see more from Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm very much looking forward to him doing that, because I think he's going to do that, especially with Shane Steichen's tutelage. Josh Allen, I have him at the top of the list, obviously, because I think he's outside of Patrick Mahomes the best quarterback in the league. So I would naturally give Andy Reid a 28-year-old phenom with the arm and leg abilities that he has to open up this offense, you know, and do what he wants. Andy Reid to do what he wants to do with Josh Allen. I think they could very much win the Super Bowl with Josh Allen as their quarterback. CJ Stroud, I think I've said this numerous times. I said this once I started watching him play, because I was somebody who was not big on him coming out of the draft.
Yeah.
But I immediately saw the it factor. There's something about the way he can see the game and how slow the game is for him. I think this kid is a stellar. He's a superstar in the making.
The opposite of Justin Herbert. Like the criticism we had of Justin Herbert, he's the opposite.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think
he's the best in those situations.
CJ's the type of quarterback that makes the job easy for a lot of coaches. And Andy Reid, I think, would very much appreciate the insight and the veteran ability he already has to see the game the way he does. I think would just make it that much easier and quite frankly that much more fun for Andy Reid, because that's why Andy Reid has so much fun with Patrick Mahomes. Not because he's just talented, because he sees the game the way he does. He's far ahead of his age.
He's got studs over there too. Nico Collins, Tank. He's got
he's got Stephon Diggs now.
Well, and I'm saying this could be his big next step.
Was it Joe Mixon too?
Dalton Schultz at tight end.
Joe Mixon too, right?
Yeah, they got and they got Dalton Schultz at tight end. Man, they got legit, and that defense is going to be good too, bro.
And the reason I have Anthony Richardson over Love and Williams is because I think he's a much more talented player than both. And I know that's saying, because Caleb Williams is so super talented.
Athletically, yes.
And so I look at the coaching of Andy Reid with Anthony Richardson's ability, like you said, who is cut from the same cloth as Josh Allen.
Very similar.
Who had the greatest physical write-up in combine history.
Yeah, he blew the whole combine away.
He to me, he's my favorite player to come out of the draft outside of Patrick Mahomes, ever. Because he's got so much to his game that if you get the right coach, and I believe he's got the right coach, Shane Steichen.
That's what I'm saying. His situation is incredible. I think Michael Pittman immediately has a number one to go to.
This Colts team had won 9 games last year, and Anthony Richardson only played 6 games.
Yeah.
I think this Colts team, and I think Anthony Richardson is a team that could very well be a playoff team, make a deep playoff push if he stays healthy. I think the only reason we're worried about him staying healthy is because of the fact, like you said, he plays a little bit reckless. But I think when you're young, you think you're invincible, and I think that Shane Steichen's going to kind of coach that out of him. You even heard him in the press conference. I heard Anthony Richardson a couple days ago go, I had him spend all this offseason realizing that I got to stay on the field to make to help my team. So I think he's going to play a little bit more of a careful approach, sliding more, learning how to preserve his body, staying in the pocket more. And dude, he's got an awesome offensive line.
Yeah.
So stay in the pocket more. Utilize your weapons. He's got hella weapons too. Like, why not just be a quarterback? You know, and I think that when Anthony Richardson gets that, and he continues, and by the way, he's still growing, I might add.
Yeah.
He's growing for another 3 years. You stop growing at 25 as a man. I think he's going to continue to grow and become even more of a physical specimen. I just love the ability that he can display at any level of the game, whether it's throwing the ball, running with the ball, doing whatever he has to do. I like his upside more than almost anybody on this list.
Yeah,
so,
if you didn't have him at number 3, right? Yeah. I probably wouldn't have an issue with him being on this list.
Sure.
But him being number 3 is just high over Caleb Williams and even Jordan Love. I think those two guys, because I wasn't too impressed with Anthony Richardson, what I saw of him last year. Like, he looked okay.
Really?
He was very athletic. His running abilities were incredible.
Made some hella throws too, man.
He made some, there's a lot of terrible turnovers too, and there's some bad decision making, which can be obviously, he's so young. We kind of expect a lot of those. Jordan Love was awful his first year too, really again, because he was honestly awful the first half of last year.
And he clicked.
He just found something, and
and he has a coach very similar.
Look back, sure.
Matt LaFleur, Shane Steichen.
Yeah, the situation's incredible for him there. They're such a young coaching staff too, and a bright future over there.
Just don't be shocked if that Colts team is fighting for that AFC South.
I'm rooting for Anthony Richardson. I really am. I like him. I like his capabilities. I like dominant players like that. That's why I love Josh Allen. I love guys that can kind of do it all.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping he can become that. And he's got a good personality too. He's like a humble guy. He's not too, he's not as much as I think the talent of Caleb Williams is great. His personality kind of gets under the skin sometimes, but I do understand why he's that way. He's just being himself, and I get it. But like, it kind of helps when the guy's more humble and he's not like coming out the gate acting like he's him. Yeah. You know what I mean? I kind of appreciate Anthony Richardson from that perspective. So,
well, that's the list, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. I thought that'd be good to get Trevor's reactions to this. We haven't talked about that. I only did that when he was gone, so want to get his thoughts on that. But you know what, Trevor? We got to get some people. We've been making them wait, man, for way too long. It's time for Speak It. What are the questions in Speak It, Trev?
All right, let me get to the people here. So we've got 8 lined up here. Let's see. From the top rope, we got Max Wasson on YouTube. Do you think the Patrick Mahomes could be the flag bearer for the Team USA at potential future Olympics in Dallas? So, do you think he could be that guy to bear the flag?
I think if there was anybody, it'd be him. Yeah.
Right.
So I would say yes. I definitely would say yes. I love the fact that moguls and figureheads in American sports are getting that kind of recognition. I think that Patrick Mahomes, outside of LeBron James, is probably the biggest name in American. Steph Curry, I would say, probably out there. Steph Curry, LeBron James, and then probably Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the Olympics possibly being in Dallas too. Texas, his home state.
I could see it being possible.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, especially him being from Texas. I could see that happening.
Yeah, that'd be an iconic moment for him for sure. Next one from Dustin Orton. Chiefs plans for Sky Moore. I know we all want him gone, but what are your thoughts that the Chiefs will do?
I think the Chiefs are trying to give Sky Moore every opportunity in the freaking world to win a position on this team, because I think the last 2 years...
Do something? I don't know.
Yeah, the last 2 years, Sky Moore was safe because we knew that they weren't going to move off him that quickly.
Yeah.
And they felt that he was still in development. Well, this is year 3. And year 3 of a 4-year contract, I feel like you are who you are by that time. And so I think the Chiefs are trying to give him as many opportunities in the world to win a spot now, because it's the first time that he actually has to earn a spot on the roster. I think that it's make or break time, and if I'm a betting man, I just don't think Sky Moore is going to do enough in camp to save a spot. I think it's going to take a couple of injuries for him to stay on this roster. I think that Justin Watson goes on the IR, and then someone else goes down for a lengthy period of time, Sky Moore probably stays on the roster. But if everyone else stays healthy and Justin Watson's the only one, because I don't think the Chiefs are keeping 7 receivers. I think they're keeping 5 or 6.
8. No,
I think it's going to be 5 or 6. I think they're going to try to keep as many defensive linemen and offensive linemen this year around, and I think that's what's going to happen. So I think right now, if I was a betting man, Sky Moore's on the outs, and he'll be out in the next few weeks.
Well, to follow that up with another question, our guy Tony Russell on YouTube asked in the same vein. Sky, in my opinion, probably special teams.
I mean, what is special teams though? Are we talking about being a returner? Because I don't like him as a returner. That dude muffs too many freaking punts.
That would also mean that Nico Remigio probably isn't making the roster if he gets that role as well. So give me Nico.
Where's McCole Hardman?
Right. So I mean, there's too many there's too many cooks in the kitchen with that, man. Like there's too many guys that can do that role. And honestly, Sky's probably the worst of them all.
Exactly.
I mean, he's been costly in situations like that, and punt returns, kick returns, and situations like that. So I think Tobe learned his lesson after that. And plus, Sky was never that guy. He was never like a special teams returner kind of guy. I mean, his skill set could have translated that because he's pretty shifty.
Right.
But it's just, nah, man. Give me Kadarius Toney any day over him, honestly. We've seen Kadarius Toney have epic returns. You know, at least we know he can do that.
Right.
So yeah, Sky is on the outside looking in, man, if we're all being honest. And I like the guy. I like the person that Sky is. I think he's a great person, great teammate. But he's just not translating to this is a dog eat dog game, man. You know, I mean, if he doesn't have the chops, then it's gonna be what it is.
It looks like our guy, somebody reported. I want to give him credit.
Yeah.
Chief KT reported, and I'm looking and I confirmed it with other reporters. Chiefs defensive back Najee Johnson has a hamstring injury. So
okay.
Can't really avoid, for whatever reason, the kid can just not stay healthy. And I hope that's not a trend, but you know, he missed last season with an ACL tear. He had a knee tweak this last week, and now he's got a hamstring injury. So Najee is a stud. I think he's going to be a really good player if he can stay healthy. But now I'm starting to really wonder if maybe he is one of those guys that just is injury prone.
Sucks, man.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case. But that's
there's a lot of promise.
He's got a lot of promise. I want to see this kid on the field. But no, the hamstring injury. Who's to say what happens? We don't know how long he'll be out. Who knows
the severity of it? You know, could have just been a little tweak, and maybe give him a week or a few days, he'll be all right. I mean, honestly, bro, a lot of guys go through soft tissue issues.
Yeah,
this is that time of year where your body's kind of getting reacclimated to. You know, this is camp time, man. There's gonna be a lot of like fresh injuries that kind of happen that way.
Right.
Once the season gets going, and hopefully those kind of guys can kind of, you know, their bodies are more prepped and ready for battle. But hopefully it's not a severe one, man. That's all I'm hoping. Micah Hayes. Sup, guys? Any word on injuries on Justin Watson, Justin Ross, and Najee Johnson?
Well, we do know that Najee Johnson has the hamstring injury. We know that they're saying Justin Ross is fine. Supposedly he's either back at practice. Or they've confirmed that they said he's okay. There's nothing wrong with him.
Shout out Shaggy for that.
Shout out to Shaggy for the shit. The Shaggy shit report. And that actually works out pretty well.
Shout out to Shaggy for the shits.
Yeah, Shaggy and the shits. Yeah, that's we don't know anything about Justin Watson.
Yeah.
All we do know is that
what
we saw, and then he tried to walk up the hill, couldn't walk up. They ended up carting him. In my opinion, whenever you have a lower extremity injury, you should be carted anyway. But he tried to power through it, couldn't power through it. That's been 3 days now. We haven't heard anything since. To me, I don't think it's going to be good. If I'm a betting man right now, I think it's going to be an injury that prolongs, and Justin Watson's probably going to miss some serious time. And that's going to give opportunities to guys like Nico Remigio, I think, to really shine. And boy, from everything we're seeing in camp, that's all he's been doing.
Yeah.
Patrick throws him the ball, he catches it every single time, runs his routes crisp, special teamer. He's a guy that has purpose on this team. So I can very well see a guy like Nico Remigio capitalizing on the absence of one Justin Watson.
Absolutely. Mike Hayes with another follow-up question. Are you concerned about left tackle? Some in the media think it's a bigger issue than we think.
Hey, Trevor, why don't you tell the people what do you think when I think about the left tackle position?
I think we think it's solidified. I think you have our guy. I think Kingsley is the man, and we're both in agreement on that. The media can think whatever they want. The media said a lot of things about the Chiefs and the concerns of certain things, and hasn't really panned out. So yeah, I think there should be. It's a conversation for sure, but I think on this show, we're pretty confident in a guy by the name of Kingsley.
I heard somebody say, I think it was J-Mac from the Herd.
Oh, Jesus.
Said that the reason why he doesn't believe that the Chiefs can three-peat is because they have question at left tackle. I think I may have even been Colin Cowherd that said it. What was their question last year, Trevor? Outside of wide receiver. They had a Donovan Smith, Wanye Morris combination. Left tackle was by far their biggest weakness on offensive line.
It's been since Orlando left, yeah.
Yeah, so they won last year with a question at left tackle. That question is now answered. It's just people are going to be slow to it. I'm telling you guys right now, Kingsley 𝚂𝙾𝙳 is the left tackle for this team. Well, the first padded practice of training camp this year, who was their left tackle? Starting left tackle and first team reps. Kingsley 𝚂𝙂𝙳.
𝚂𝙾𝙳 out
he
there.
is yes, he is. He's got this job. I know they're playing Wanye here and there, guys, but they're doing that to get Wanye opportunities to show if he can do anything. But they showed Wanye struggle against. See, we got a report. I'm dropping my pen here. Forgive me. We got a report this week that 𝚂𝙿𝙸𝚂𝙾𝙳𝙴 got burned by Mike Dana, and then Wanya Morris got burned by FAU. So what I got from that was Kingsley got done by a seasoned veteran who's an accomplished player on this team, and Wanya got done by a guy who essentially redshirted last year. There are levels to these comparisons. So I look at Wanya as a guy who's not built to play left tackle. I've been saying this since last season. I think he is a right guard, right tackle. I think he's one of those guys. Kingsley is literally built for this. You go look at even guys like Ron Kopp, who's talking yesterday about how the athleticism just blows off the charts when you watch Kingsley. He is built for that position. Is he raw? Yes. But is he a guy that's going to grow into that position and become something special? Yes, because he's got all the necessities and all the tools. You just got to learn how to use them. And Andy Reid and Andy Heck are the best at doing that when it comes to developing offensive linemen. I'm telling you guys right now, Kingsley is the left tackle, and he will be the left tackle for the foreseeable future because he's going to turn into an absolute stud. Be ready.
I like it. Julia Gulia with the next question. 6 or 7 wide receivers. Asking because if 7, we're not going to have 4 running backs and 4 tight ends.
Guys, there's not 7 receivers to keep. If I'm making my and this is with considering Justin Watson's injury, these are the receivers I'm keeping, and this is the most I'm keeping. Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Mecole Hardman, Nico Remigio, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, if Justin Watson's healthy, okay, then throw him on the list. But I'm not keeping Kadarius Toney. I'm not keeping Sky Moore. None of these other guys are worth keeping. They're dead weight. And I think a lot of them, especially Kadarius Toney, I know it's Trev's guy, and a lot of you guys still believe in him.
He's making the roster.
But he is dead weight, in my opinion. It costs just as much to let go of him as to keep him. You say, well, that means you should keep him. If he's going to be out there and be a net negative every single time he's on the field, why keep him? If he's going to be a guy that's out there saying stuff about the team and lying about the team, lying about him, why keep him? I mean, this is year 3. It's time. Sky Moore, year 3. It's time. What are you showing me? The only thing we've heard from Kadarius Toney in training camp is that he was running the football and then threw a football at George Karlaftis. What do we hear from Sky Moore?
He caught that ball, though.
Oh, God damn it. Then we hear Sky Moore dropping a touchdown that Patrick Mahomes put in his hands. Yeah. Like, that's all we're hearing, guys. So perception is reality when it comes to training camp, especially at this position with guys that are on the fringe. I believe they're very much on the fringe. So the team invested a lot in both of them guys, but eventually you either got to pay the bills or you're vacated from the premises.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I definitely don't think we're carrying 7 again, though. That's probably not happening.
I think it's 5 or 6.
Yeah.
5 or 6.
Dustin Orton, thoughts on Burrow's idea of an 18-game season?
Well, this is what's funny, is that somehow it became Joe Burrow's idea.
Right, this has been a discussion for
we all knew this was happening years ago. Like, we knew once 17 games came, the 18 games was going to follow.
Yeah.
So, like, people thought that Joe Burrow came with this. It was never. I'm not coming at Dustin. I promise. I'm saying that I've heard people say, like, "Oh yeah, that was a really good idea from Joe Burrow." No, Joe Burrow didn't make up this idea. Joe Burrow didn't come up with anything. He probably didn't even come up with his own hairdo. My point is that is something that's inevitable, regardless of what Joe Burrow said. We all know the an 18-game schedule will happen. It's just a matter of when. The new CBA is going to have an 18-game schedule, and it makes the most sense because you don't want to have these odd numbers. You want to have teams that can finish 500. You don't want to have teams that are, 9-8 or 8-9. You want to have teams that are 9-9 or 10 or 8-10. You want that. You don't want weird odd numbers. You don't want odd amount of games. You want even amount of games. And so that will happen. You should look forward to it too because more football is always a good thing, guys. I know that people try to make it sound so negative, but as I recall, Trevor, in 1978. The NFL went from 14 games to 16 games, and the NFL only got better and more popular. So I'm going to say that 18 games will be all right.
Well, and there'd be an extra bye week in there most likely, too. So that'd be kind of cool. I'd be for it, for sure. Especially as a gambling fanatic, I wouldn't mind having an extra week.
And it opens more roster spots. It opens up more team spots, so more people get jobs. Like, it only helps everything. Like, the league benefits from it. The fans benefit from it. There's more money generated.
There'll probably be another couple international games, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For sure. Our guy James T. Kirk has a trio of questions here for us. Dak should get his money, but $60 million?
I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you, James. I mean, look at the contracts. So we put those back up real quick, Trevor. Show those contracts. Tell me, outside of maybe Lamar Jackson, who of these quarterbacks is more deserving for that money than Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Tua Tagovailoa getting over $53 million.
That's insane.
Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, are you kidding me?
He's never going to win a Super Bowl, bro. No, that's not going to happen.
I mean, look at
he might not be their quarterback in 3 years.
And Trevor, close your ears. Trevor Lawrence hasn't done shit.
No, I know that. And
he got 55. Dak Prescott is better than Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I will not even hear the debate. He's better than every guy on this list outside of Lamar Jackson.
I mean, Jordan fucking Love. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean?
What are we doing?
I mean, I'm not a Jordan Love guy really, but
and I think he's going to be a good quarterback. But come on, man, like
he could build on this year, yeah.
So yeah, I know you're right. Like $60 million sounds like a whole lot, but I actually think he's going to get far more than that.
We always think that though when these contracts come out, and that's the new standard, right? That's just how it is, man. The money just continues to climb. And like we just talked about with Patrick Mahomes, everyone was talking about how that's an awful contract and how could the 10-year deal with that much money, half $500 million, blah blah blah.
Yep.
And now it looks like the best contract in NFL history. Like it's.
I think what's going to happen, True, this is my prediction with the Cowboys and Dak. They're going to say, "Hey, Dak, we're going to see how this season goes. You know, if it's a long run into the postseason, we're going to give you the money you're asking for. If not, we're gonna start heading in a different direction because we've really stabbed at this many times and we know what this is and we're looking in another direction to try maybe see if Trey Lance has got it or another drafted quarterback we go and get. You know, what I
think
mean?
they better pay him.
But yeah, if I was the Cowboys, I would be paying him. I would pay him immediately. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Jerry Jones is trying to stand firm. He's going to try to stand firm in all this and try to convince himself that it's the right decision to make. And I don't believe that's the right decision to make. I think you pay your quarterback when he's at his best. Yeah. When he's proven that he's at his best, he's the only reason they have any playoff prominence over the last couple of years, if they have any at all. And he ended Tom Brady's career. I think that's something
he's just one of those guys that you just love. He's a true football player. He's a competitor. The guy wants to win. He leaves his heart and soul out there. The guy tried to jam his goddamn foot back in place when he broke it. That was one of the most warrior mentality things I've ever seen on a football field.
Compound fracture, bro.
That was insane. Yeah. The dude was just wanted to win so bad. He's like, fuck, I broke my leg. Let me put this shit back in place. He probably didn't know he broke his leg, but that was like one of the wildest things I ever seen.
It was horrible, man.
But yeah, I'm a Dak fan for sure. I like that guy. That takes a lot for me to be a fan of a Cowboy. But CeeDee Lamb's my boy too. I love that guy. He's incredible. All right, James T. Kirk with his next question. Do you fear the Raiders with Dak Prescott? If I were Jerry, I would not pay Dak after this season, especially if he fizzles again.
No, because what Dak Prescott would be going from is a toxic relationship to
another. Has he really fizzled though?
Who?
Dak. I mean,
no.
I know he's had.
Oh, I missed that part. I'm sorry.
He said short. He said especially if he fizzles again.
He played horrible against the Packers in the postseason. But let's make no mistake about it, guys. Over the last 3 years, the only team that has more wins than the Cowboys are the Chiefs. So
Dak is a winner.
Yeah,
he's been a winner. I mean, yeah, he's had his fault. He's fallen short in playoff games, but he's had some massive performances in the playoffs.
Yeah,
let's not act like he hasn't.
Dak's been. He's not the problem in Dallas.
Yeah,
trust me when I say he's not the problem in Dallas. He's the easy target because he's the quarterback and he makes a ton of money.
He's the quarterback of the Cowboys.
But he's the only reason they're even relevant. I mean, I'm not talking from a marketing standpoint. I'm talking about from a football standpoint. The only reason they're even relevant is because they have a very a top tier quarterback, in my opinion. And if Dak was to go to the Raiders, I wouldn't fear it because I don't believe in the Raiders.
Right.
That's an even worse situation. Now, if Dak was to end up with like the San Francisco 49ers, I'd be terrified.
Yeah.
If he was to end up with the Rams, I'd be terrified. If he ended up with the Eagles or any team, I mean, that ain't gonna happen. I'm just saying, like, any of these franchises that I know are about winning and can get there, I'd be terrified.
Yeah.
Because Dak could be a perennial Super Bowl winner. Because those are franchises that he can look at. Like I said, look at Matt Stafford. Consistently put up numbers with the Detroit Lions, couldn't win because he did not play for a good franchise. The moment he goes to the Rams, they have a winning caliber roster. Wins the Super Bowl. There's no coincidence.
And Stafford happened to run into a lot of good teams in the postseason as well. I mean, some other really good quarterbacks and good defenses that he's faced. But last one from our guy James T. Kirk. The Chiefs have $13 million in cap space. Do they spread it or roll it over to next season?
I think it's gonna be a little bit of both.
Spend it. I'm sorry.
I think you're gonna, like I told you guys a couple weeks ago when there was a similar question asked. I think the only money the Chiefs are really spending now, unless there is some injury and they have to go and get guys, I think the money they're going to be using in this offseason is extensions. I think you're going to see a Creed Humphrey extension, probably a Trey Smith extension. I would like to see a Harrison Butker extension as well. He's only 29 years old. I think he's the best kicker in football. He's on his last year of his deal. I'd like to see those 3 guys get solidified. If those 3 guys got solidified, I'd be very happy. That would pretty much complete my list. Remember on February, my Brett Veach wish list?
Oh, yeah.
So I'd like to see those. Juwan Taylor, maybe they could try to mess with his contract a little bit. Maybe give him a little, try to up the money a little bit.
I like Juwan.
That opens up money. I think Juwan Taylor's going to have a hell of a season this year.
I do too.
People forget he's only 26 years old.
Dude, he's a great athlete, man. He struggled because of his the way he was lining up last year, and he was really getting screwed by the rest, if we're being honest. But I think he's got a lot of skills. So I think that money should definitely go towards extending guys that we need to keep around, especially on the offensive line.
Right,
for sure.
I'm gonna pull this up real quick, sure, before we get out of here, because I know that you said that was the. I'm assuming that's the end.
That was the last question. Yeah, of the people from our guy James T. Kirk.
I'm gonna pull something up real quick. I'm gonna pull something up real quick because I saw a comment from our guy James, and he loves to. He loves to do this.
Questioning our Dak support. Yeah.
So, let's see here. I want to make sure that
we just keep it honest. I mean, I don't have any reason to hate Dak, and I don't think Dak's a loser. I think Dak's a winner. So, I mean, I think the numbers that I'm assuming you're going to pull up are backing that as well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know what you guys think in the chat. I know you guys, is there a lot of Dak hate out there?
Well, right now, Dak Prescott has more career passing yards in the postseason than Joe Burrow and Rich Gannon. Let's see here. Passing touchdowns. Because we're freelancing now, literally. I just want to
Lance, rants, and freelancing.
Yeah, we're just gonna have a bunch of, because I'm that arrogant. I'm gonna have a bunch of topics with. Yeah, so Dak Prescott has more passing touchdowns in the postseason than Dan Fouts, Bob Greasy, Phil Simms, Cam Newton. Those are, all guys.
He said Dak is not a loser. He's just average. Think Alex Smith 2.0. Guys, he's far better than Alex Smith. James, buddy. He's far better than Alex Smith, dude. Come on, man. Don't do this. You put Dak Prescott on that Niners team. I mean, look at Colin Kaepernick did with that team. You think who you think's better, Colin Kaepernick or Dak Prescott, bro? That's a Super Bowl winning team.
Let's see.
For sure is
Dak Prescott has 3 seasons in his career with over 4,000 passing yards, 4,400 passing yards. Alex Smith had 0. Dak Prescott has 3 seasons of at least 30 passing touchdowns. Alex Smith had 0.
He also had I think he had a couple seasons where he had 8 or 10 rushing touchdowns on top of that.
Yeah, I'm looking that up right now too.
He's had numerous years with a ton of rushing touchdowns as well. He's a people forget how good he is on his legs. Dak's a legitimate running quarterback.
He had 3 straight seasons of 6 rushing touchdowns.
I mean,
with 282 rushing yards, 357 yards, 305, 277. Look,
he's a dual threat, man. He's legit.
And I hate talking about Dak a lot of times because I think he's so polarizing that people see Cowboys and they automatically assume he's either one thing or the other.
Yeah.
They don't actually look at him as the player. They don't see him for what he is. This dude is consistently good, awesome.
Yeah, his numbers are great.
Yes.
His career numbers are great.
This last season, guys,
he's still so young.
This last season, the Cowboys went 12-5. He completed 70% of his passes. He threw the ball 590 times. He completed 70% of those passes. Threw for 4,516 yards, 36 touchdowns to only 9 interceptions. That smokes, and I know people don't want to hear this. That smokes Patrick Mahomes' numbers.
Yeah.
That smokes any other quarterback's numbers out there right now.
It's Alex Smith.
They were the number 1 offense in the league. The Cowboys had the number 1 offense in the league last year.
Yeah.
Who was their running back?
Tony Pollard.
What did he do?
Yeah.
And they were the number 1 offense.
Yeah,
so who was steering the ship?
I mean, CeeDee Lamb and Dak, bro. I mean, that was
he finished second in MVP votes, guys. We at some point we got to start giving this man credit here.
Yeah.
What more can this man do? Say he's average? That's average. 36 touchdowns to 9 interceptions.
He had a career year last year.
4,500 passing yards.
Off a career year. I don't know what else to tell you guys.
He had 4,900 passing yards in 2019, and 30 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions.
I really don't know what his real weakness is. I mean, he's struggled in some situations. He's had some bad turnovers, bad timing on turnovers, but
He averages less than 10.
The guy is a complete quarterback.
He averages less than 10 interceptions a season. He's had 3 seasons of under 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, people will make you think he has like 20 picks a year or something.
No, he had one bad season where he had 15 in 2022, but he had that. Remember the thumb injury? They messed him with something against the Bucks early in the season.
I mean, he's not Aaron Rodgers with the ratio, but Jesus, like the dude is a completely, fully loaded, complete quarterback. I mean, the dude can do everything. He's got a great arm. He's very accurate. He's had some bonehead turnovers at games, but who hasn't, man?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That happens to everybody. I mean, I love Aaron Rodgers to death, but the dude, I've seen him crumble in the postseason. And that's fucking Aaron Rodgers. In my mind, the second greatest talent at quarterback ever. So
we've seen Tom Brady lose to Mark Sanchez in the postseason, Jake Plummer, Nick Foles, Eli Manning multiple times in Super Bowls. Like, are we going to start calling these guys average now? Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I know my guy James. I love him to death. He's in the chat all the time.
Yeah. I love it.
But that buddy, I'm telling you, Dak Prescott's much. If Dak Prescott played his whole career, had the exact same stats, but he played for like the Commanders, no one has the type of opinion on Dak Prescott. Everyone's talking about how awesome this dude is.
Either way, back to the comment. He's going to get paid $60 million probably, plus maybe more than that. And we're all going to just have to accept it now. I think, and if the Cowboys pay him, they obviously think he's worth it. I think he's worth it. I mean, as far as what the market shows, especially if Jordan Love's getting 55 plus, Tua's getting 52 plus. Like, what are we doing?
James says he's not a winner. Okay, so who in the league's a winner right now? Is Lamar Jackson a winner? Because Dak has the exact same amount of playoff wins as Lamar Jackson. We crowned Lamar.
Was Aaron Rodgers? Is Aaron Rodgers?
Is Aaron Rodgers a winner? He's a losing record in the postseason.
Yeah, and he just got. I mean, his last game in the postseason was awful.
Is Josh Allen? Josh Allen has a winning record in the postseason. Do we call him a winner? No one calls Josh Allen a winner. But is he? He's better statistically and record wise than Dak Prescott. I've never heard anybody call Josh Allen a winner. We call him a great talent. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, we don't really know unless you're winning a ton of Super Bowls. Nobody calls you a winner. That is where we're at now with hot take media.
I mean, Matt Stafford's a winner now. Now that he's got a ring, but for the longest time he was a loser.
Yeah, there you go.
He was a perennial loser.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Lost. Yeah, I mean,
it's like unless you win Super Bowls, you're not considered a winning player. I think that's nuts.
It's tough, man. Dak is definitely a winner though, bro. I mean, his stats and his win-loss record.
Yeah,
is what defines. I mean, we're talking about winners. I mean, the guy's won playoff games too. It's not like he's lost every single playoff game he's been in. You know what I mean? Like he's absolutely a winner, but it's he's lost more than he's won. Yeah, but a lot of guys, like you said, have lost more than Lamar Jackson. Is he a winner?
I just wanted the definition of what a winner is. If you're somebody that says, "Hey, look, my definition of winner is you win Super Bowls," okay, I'll respect that.
Yeah,
if that's your definition. Me. Or like you said, Trevor, are you a guy that every single week puts your team in a position to win and you win the majority of your games? That makes you a winner.
What's funny to me is he in one of his comments he says he's Alex Smith 2.0, and then he says he's not a winner, and everyone called Alex Smith a winner because Alex Smith just won games. He won a lot of games, just like Garoppolo won a lot of games.
Yep.
He can't have both, man. Like he can't be Alex Smith 2.0, and everyone was calling him a winner because he found he was just. Played the game safe and got the dub.
Julie says the problem with Dak is the star on his helmet. 100% agree with that. That's exactly what it is.
It's the market. He
played for the Commanders. He played for the Lions. He played for the Panthers. No one's talking about Dak this way. James T. Kirk comes in and goes, this is Dak's third contract, and he never reached a championship. Well, he hasn't had his third contract yet. Second of all, before Dak, the previous 13 seasons, what did they do?
Yeah, how good were those years?
How many playoff wins did they have? From 1996, 1997 to 2013-14, what did they do? Those last 16, 17 seasons. Did they win a bunch of games?
He just led the best offensive football last year. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like he absolutely balled out, had a career year last year. He's deserving whatever money he gets, in my opinion, especially in the market he's in.
Yeah, like Julius says right here. Peyton Manning, I wouldn't say he was horrible in the playoffs, but he had a lot of bad.
His last trip was.
Yeah, he had a lot of bad performances in the postseason. He's a two-time Super Bowl winner.
Defense, yeah.
A two-time Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, man, he's a winner.
So, yeah, put Dak on that Cowboys team or the Broncos team in 2015. You don't think he wins the Super Bowl?
Tom Brady's first 6 years, winner.
Yeah, exactly. Throwing 146 yards and an interception.
Won a Super Bowl without even throwing a touchdown.
146 yards and an interception, won the Super Bowl. He's a winner. Speaking was great, guys. We appreciate the chat as always. You guys make this show what it is. As you can tell, you get me riled up very easily, especially when we start talking about nonsensical things like this. But either way, we have a great time, and we appreciate James G. Kirk for pissing me off this morning. No, I'm just kidding. We love you, James.
Who needs coffee when you got James?
We got James T. Kirk. All right, that's it, guys. We appreciate you guys speaking, man. That's the gist of it. Now you guys know what we do here. If you're new to the show and you didn't know what Speak It was, now you do. So tell your friends about us. Get in the chat, like we tell you at the bottom and top of every single show. YouTube.com/The Spoken Podcast. Subscribe, notify, like, share, all that cool stuff, and then get in the live chat and talk to us about what you want to talk about in the world of sports, guys, because we have a ton to talk about every single week, man. So we love you too, Julia. We thank you so much for being here every single week. And if you guys have L's, by the way, I want to throw that out there. If you guys have L's in the world of sports you want to throw out there, throw your L's in the comments. We'll give it. We'll yell, hold this L to that person, that place, that thing, whatever they got going on over there. Give us your L's as well. I want you guys to chime in on that. But Trevor, speaking of that, we do have one more order of business to get to. What is it called?
Hold this L.
Each and every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, who's ever holding the L in the world of sports deserve that L in the world of sports. Trevor Tweedwell, who's holding the L for you this week?
Well, as all you know, the NFL has been putting together their top 100 players, as they do every year. I think we all have a very good sense and idea who the number one player is going to be. And I love when they do all these interviews and they talk about, they do the countdown and all these things. They interview all the best players in the league, and they have, some people have stories of certain players, and it's always fun to kind of get like these candid moments with certain players when they talk about their teammates and or their foes. But as all of you know, Ja'Marr Chase made an appearance on this countdown here. And when asked, Chase was asked recently in an NFL social media clip about the number one player on the 2024 edition of Top 100 list, a title which unsurprisingly belongs to Patrick Mahomes after the star quarterback and two-time NFL MVP led the Chiefs back-to-back Super Bowl times for the first time in 20 years. His response was this.
Joe Burrow. I'm not saying that. He's good. He's amazing. He's good. Not gonna lie. Salty though. A little salty. 2 years in a row. I put Burrow first.
All right, so that was the voice of Ja'Marr Chase as I alluded to leading into this. At least I'll say this. At least he can admit that he's salty, and that's the reason why he's doing this. So at least he can get that off his chest and just admit that he's just being biased here. But at the same time, we are both the superhero and the villain in this story right now, the NFL. Because amongst us, this is the best thing that's ever happened to the city. Amongst the rest of the league, and especially in over there in Cincinnati, we are the all-time villain, and they're trying to take us down. And we're just living rent-free in all these guys' heads, especially a superstar talent in Ja'Marr Chase. One of the best weapons in the NFL. Can't even say the man's name. We're going to talk about I'm salty. And talking about putting his quarterback, Joe Burrow, first. That just makes Joe Burrow look worse, in my opinion, because he already knows he's not number one, but he's just going to say it because that's his quarterback. Listen, if that's not another thing to add to the list here, fuel to the fire, and the disrespect amongst Patrick Mahomes, which honestly is unwarranted, because Patrick Mahomes is just doing it by doing it, right? He's gaining he's deserving the respect by just doing his job and doing it at the highest level and getting the honor of being the number one player in the NFL on the top 100 list. And he said 2 years in a row that they beat us. You got to make the playoffs first, man. The quarterback you think is the top of the list has got to stay healthy. So I mean, there's just the disrespect just continues here. This is why I earlier in the show I said we could talk about us and the Bills rivalry, but there's actually respect there. You know what I mean? We respect Josh Allen. We respect a lot of those guys, and the lines haven't really been crossed as far as shit talk really for the most part over there. But this is as petty as you get. This is like he said, as salty as you get. This is yeah. So Ja'Marr Chase, man, this guy. He's tortured. You get to see it in his face if you go watch the clip. I know you only heard the audio here, but if you look at his face, he can't even look direct the camera in the eye. He can't even look at he's looking down, looking all over the place. He's just squirming in his chair. I love it, man. I love this so much. This is just, like I said, another thing along with the Raiders puppet show going on. This is just another thing to throw into, the spank bank, if you will, for the rest of the season. So yeah, put it on the board. We see Cincinnati this year in Arrowhead, and I can't wait. That's going to be a fun one. So Ja'Marr Chase, do me a solid favor, buddy, and
hold this L. There's guys that have opportunities to, you get to a certain point in your career, you either want to go after money because you've won rings, or you have made a bunch of money, now you want to go and try to, get rings. That's usually the case for a lot of guys as they get later in their careers. And there's some guys that are still so great at their job they can have both. And that's what Trent Williams was 3 years ago. Trent Williams had a real chance, and the Chiefs were actively and aggressively trying to get Trent Williams. And we remember that the Chiefs ended up ultimately trading with the Ravens and swapping the picks, getting the 50th overall pick, getting Nick Bolton, but they also got Orlando Brown Jr. from them, and he became their left tackle for 2 years. But we remember the first guy that the Chiefs wanted was Trent Williams, and we'd heard that Trent Williams was very interested in playing for the Chiefs, but ultimately he decided to stick with Kyle Shanahan because he felt comfortable staying with San Francisco. He felt like they were going to take care of him and everything would be good. Let's go ahead and put that up on the screen real quick, Trevor, the update of where things are with the 49ers and Trent Williams. Oh, would you look at that? Another one. 49ers All-Pro left tackle Trent Williams did not report to training camp as now he wants his contract to be adjusted. He's a holdout. If you don't know, Trent Williams, who is by far, in my opinion, the best left tackle, probably the best offensive lineman in football, even at his advanced age, none of his money left on his contract is guaranteed, which means that he's basically playing football this season very loosely. There's a lot of what ifs.
Yeah, no security there.
And we know veteran players do not like that shit, especially somebody as accomplished as Trent Williams. And maybe the Niners do figure this out with him, and I'm sure they probably will. But you know where Trent Williams wouldn't have dealt with this? You know where this drama wouldn't be taking place? You know where he wouldn't have had been a holdout? You know where else he would have had a ring added to his finger last season as opposed to playing on the other side of the field? If he'd have joined the Chiefs. Trent Williams, you could have so much more money and a ring added to your hand that you've yet to get, even though you are more than deserving of it because you're maybe the best left tackle I've ever seen. This is your fault. And for that, you're going to have to do me a solid, buddy, and
hold this L.
Just like you held one in the Super Bowl.
Damn. I wonder if he's going to hold out like legitimately. He probably will.
I don't know, but while he holds out, he can hold this L. I usually end our show here with L's. But because we know that things are very special right now in the world of sports, given the Olympics and things of that nature, I wanted to end it on a positive note. As we all now know, there was a very special opportunity given to a guy that I know all of you love as much as Trevor and I do, especially James D. Kirk.
James, you listen, James.
So, James, please, if you could turn up your volume all the way up to your ears bleed, because this is really important. Trevor, we go ahead and put that on the screen.
She has the same name
Oh,
as James.
would you look at it? Hey, our guy, LeBron James, became the first basketball player to be given the honor to carry the flag at the Olympic ceremony. First ever. I don't think people realize how big of a deal this is.
Airline was looking crispy too. Look at it.
And I'm telling you guys, I love this picture because I see, and I know this sounds so cheesy, but Trevor and I grew up watching LeBron from his beginning. We watched this kid come from high school to getting drafted to the Cavs in 2003. We've seen the entire thing play out, just like all of you guys have that are our age or older. To see him go from a kid at an Akron to now doing this is one of the greatest American stories that has ever been written. So while everyone finds things to hate on and discredit LeBron James or try to tear him down and his character, his political view, whatever it is, this man is carrying your flag. You guys all say you're so proud of and back this country up so much. He's the one that's representing your country during the Olympics. He's the one that's carrying the flag. How fucking awesome is that? I think it's the most beautiful thing I've seen at the Olympics in a long time, and I don't give a shit who that upsets. I love it, because as I told you guys at the beginning of the show about another issue, I'll say it about this one. Being offended is a choice. W goes to LeBron James, the greatest basketball player to ever live.
Put in the Louvre, baby.
What a fun show this has been. Thank you guys so much for being a part of it. We went for well over 2 hours, probably almost 2.5, I'd imagine. But, man, we love doing the show, man. We look forward to it every single week, and we give you guys what we got. It sometimes feels like we're going to have nothing for you guys. We end up getting 2+ hours of content out there. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it, because you guys are a part of it. You guys are what makes every single episode what it is. We just get to be the conduits to what you guys want to talk about. So thank you for hearing us out. Thank you for letting us hear you guys out. It's a great relationship we have here, and we want to add more people to it. So like I said, guys, go let people know where to hit us up, where to find us, and tell them, go to our YouTube channel. That's where we're trying to grow, guys. We're there. Like, we're going to continue to grow there, but we need help to do it. So tell your friends about us, and we greatly appreciate that. So for the meantime, without anything else left to say, for Trevor Twidwell, for the great Clay Wendler that puts us together on the back end of things, for the entire Starcade Media family that we love and appreciate so much, I'm Lance Twidwell. Episode 277 of the Spoken Podcast is done, finished, and finito. And until we're back here 1 week's time to talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about, we out of this bitch. James T. Kirk, suck it.
Later.